All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time, and welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage of the Wurth 400 from Texas Motor Speedway in the next round of the NASCAR Cup Series season in 2026. Carson Hocevar, fresh off a win at Talladega Superspeedway last week, going to be going for back-to-back as he starts on the pole this weekend at Texas, the site of his first career pole and a top 10 finish a year ago, looking to get a few spots better and get that race win for the second consecutive week. It's an all-Spire Motorsports front row and a great weekend for Spire so far, finishing 1-2 in the truck race. With that being said, Carson Hocevar won that race. Kyle Busch in the 7 truck that night was able to get the win, and now we see the 77 and the 7 starting 1-2 yet again here for the Sunday NASCAR Cup Series edition. As far as the racing weekend so far, we've seen a lot of great racing going on here at Texas, and we've got some interesting stories to follow as we enter today's race, which will begin here shortly. They have just given the command to fire engines, so a shorter pre-race compared to usual for the NASCAR Cup Series live commentary streams, but we are here live, and I'm going to try to fit the NASCAR trivia in at some point in time during the stream, maybe at the end of Stage 1 or something, end of Stage 2 sometime, red flag period if we do get one. Hopefully we don't, but if we do, that would be a good time to fit it in as well. As far as this one goes, hope to see you for more NASCAR live commentary streams. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the like button on the stream. Helps these streams out a ton. Our goal is to get to 100 likes here this afternoon. All right, we'll go through the starting lineup to start today's race, and then we'll follow the point standings before the drop of the green flag. Carson Hocevar, Daniel Suarez going to be on the front row for this one. Mentioned already, Hocevar first career win at Talladega last week. Truck race winner on Friday. Suarez going to be starting on the front row here at Texas Motor Speedway. He's finishing the top 10 in the last 3 races here. Chris Buescher, Denny Hamlin make up row number 2. Denny Hamlin, a 4-time Texas winner. Chase Briscoe alongside Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, another multi-time Texas winner in row 3. Row 4 for Christopher Bell, who's never won at the track, and Tyler Reddick won here a few years ago. In row 5, Alex Bowman and Ty Gibbs will round out the top 10. And row number 6 is going to be Kyle Larson, the series veteran, 2-time champion, alongside Connor Zilisch, the rookie, still in search for his first top 10 of the season. Austin Cindric with Chase Elliott will line up in row number 7. Elliott won this race a season ago. 2 seasons ago, excuse me. William Byron alongside Ross Chastain in row number 8. Chastain has finished a runner-up here 2 times. William Byron, a former Texas winner, and he was fastest in practice yesterday. Rookie Corey Heim and Riley Herbst for 23XI Racing will be in row number 9. And row 10 will be Michael McDowell, came so close to a win here a season ago, and Ryan Preece. In row number 11 will be Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Last year's Wurth 400 winner Joey Logano alongside Josh Berry in row 12. Brad Keselowski and A.J. Allmendinger will be in row number 13. Keselowski, a 3-time runner-up at Texas, but never won here. Cole Custer with Noah Gragson will be in row 14. Row 15, Cody Ware and Shane Van Gisbergen. Series veteran Ryan Blaney, and driver who comes in 3rd in points, starting deep in the field today on the inside of row number 16 alongside Todd Gilliland. In row 17 will be John Hunter Nemechek and Zane Smith. Row 18, Ty Dillon and Chad Fincham. Rounding out the field in row number 19, Bubba Wallace and Austin Dillon. Neither of those two participated in qualifying yesterday afternoon. Bubba Wallace crashed in practice in turns 1 and 2, and Austin Dillon had an engine change and was not able to get the new engine in. Austin Cindric will also be starting at the rear of the field because of an engine change during the practice session. He made minimal laps, did qualify the car, but he will still have to start at the rear. So that is your updates coming into this one here today. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Again, subscribe for more NASCAR content. Point standings coming into the day, and you'll see that scrolling across the top of the screen. I got the top 21 in the standings up there. Top 16 make the chase at the end of the regular season. This is going to be race number 11 of 26 in the regular season for the NASCAR Cup Series. Tyler Reddick comes in with still a gigantic lead with those 5 wins in the first 10 races, 110 points ahead of second place in the standings, Denny Hamlin. Hamlin was able to close in 10 points last week after Talladega, while neither Reddick or Hamlin really had a good day. Ryan Blaney with the DNF early in that race as well. Chase Elliott caught up in an incident. It was not very good for pretty much each of the top 5 or 6 in the point standings, so nobody really fell back or gained on anybody of those top 6. So you still got Reddick P1, Hamlin P2, Ryan Blaney in 3rd. Elliott did move up 2 spots in points. He is now sitting in 4th, but not a lot of ground made up over Reddick. Ty Gibbs down a spot to 5th, down a spot for Larson to 6th after a last place finish. He was the first to DNF of many in the big one, specifically back at stage 2. Chris Buescher up 4 spots in points. He is now 7th in the standings after a good points day at Talladega and a runner-up finish. Carson Hocevar ends up with a race win, also up 4 positions in points. He is sitting 8th. Christopher Bell 9th. Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 10. William Byron 11th in points. Bubba Wallace down 4 spots to 12th. Ryan Preece at 13th. Daniel Suarez, who starts on the front row today, is 14th. Joey Logano, last year's race winner here at Texas, 15th in points coming in. And last spot in the chase entering today, Austin Cindric, who is only 4 points to the good over Chase Briscoe. Also just outside the cut line would be Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, Zane Smith, and A.J. Allmendinger. So that is the point standings outlook entering today's race. We've gone through the starting lineup. Our stage splits today will be 80 laps in both Stage 1 and Stage 2. I should say 80 laps in Stage 1, 85 in Stage 2. Stage 3 is going to be the final 102 laps to take us to the end of our scheduled distance, which is 267 laps and 400 miles. Pit road speed at 55 miles per hour, as it is for every mile and a half track on the circuit, and we will see everybody pit at least one time in each of the stages. Connor Berg, Brett Whitesides, Frank Powers, welcome into the stream as well. Matthew Dorter Bruno, Falk Huff, thanks for tuning in. I just realized what that name's supposed to sound like. Oh, jeez. Austin Dillon at the back, not Austin Cindric. You said Cindric. I think they both have to drop to the rear. Cindric made an engine change. I guess because it was during practice, he doesn't have to drop to the rear. I was thinking he was going to have to. Cindric made an engine change, and he made very minimal laps in practice. I think he only got out there for like a lap or two, but maybe because he was able to do that in the practice session itself, he doesn't have to go to the back. But I know he made a change, and Austin Dillon had an engine failure during the session, and they were not able to get that car to qualify. So that's why Wallace and Dillon are in the final row. All right. I'm excited for this one. Texas has been growing on me over the last couple of years. I thought last year's race in person there was a lot of fun. Comfort of my own home here today. Well, not really my own home, but it's still comfort of my own seat here today. Bringing you guys the action yet again. I did not get the Fantasy League in before the start of the day today. That is not good. Poor me. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to actually look at the lineup here. Very warm temperature today versus yesterday. It's going to be a hot and slick racetrack. 82 degrees is the ambient temp. Track temp 113 to start, as it's roughly just past 2:30 Central Time and local time at Texas Motor Speedway. Pit road speed's 45 miles an hour. My bad, by the way. I thought I said, I think I said 55 before. Fuel window 64 to 68 green flag laps. Shouldn't see as much tire fall off here as what we usually see on the mile-and-a-half tracks, despite how treacherous and slippery it will be. Drivers are going to be on the edge of control all day long. If you're wondering for visual purposes where you can watch today's race, Fox Sports 1 is where you can watch visually. Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, and Kevin Harvick in the booth yet again. Not many races left on Fox this year. I think they only have 2 points races left. They got this week at Texas, next week at Watkins Glen, and they will also have the All-Star race at Dover.
They're always so hard on those pace car drivers, and him going up there and messing with him is funny. When he was a kid, his folks used to take it to New Hampshire Motor Speedway regularly. Wow, see NASCAR. That's great. Here's Bubba Wallace's radio. All right. shit riding on this car. 6 Darlington, we went from second in points to 12th. Lost 147 points. Big time important. They stayed till 6 o'clock working on that car, and then Bubba took the whole car to dinner. He said, "Wreck the car. It's the least I can do."
Crowd on their feet here at the Texas Motor Speedway and cheering abroad. Green flag is in the air as Carson Hocevar will lead us to the green, and we are underway at Texas in the Wurth 400. Inside lane has been by far the most dominant lane on these restarts all weekend across the Truck and O'Reilly series. And as they slip their way through turns 1 and 2, right now it's a drag race down the back straightaway between the Spire Motorsport teammates of Daniel Suarez and Carson Hocevar at the front of the pack. Chase Briscoe threading the needle to the inside of Chris Buescher. Not a lot of room to try to make this pass. Not only gets by Buescher, but pulls to the inside of Denny Hamlin. What a hole shot for Chris Buescher as he goes for third. And Kyle Busch trying to get into the top 5 around Chris Buescher in the 17 car as well, as Buescher struggles in the opening lap and a half or so. Stuck on the outside groove of the racetrack, and Busch is clear for 5th place out of turn 2. Briscoe and Hamlin still up in front of him, running side by side for position. Briscoe with a slight slide draft on his teammate. Hamlin gets a little loose in the outside groove, ducks in line behind Briscoe, and Briscoe does take away that 3rd place spot.
Shocking arm with a good qualifying effort, but to your point, can they hold on to this with a good finish? 8th, 9th, 10th, Reddick, Gibbs, Bowman. It's going to be interesting. Low air pressure. You see a lot of people running right down on the bottom of that racetrack at 3 and 4, Kevin. As rough as it is up top, probably what to expect early.
And the cars are just not going to drive as good as they did yesterday in practice when you could find all that space, all that real estate to get yourself the cleanest air possible. You don't have that choice anymore. You have to be able to go where they're not on the racetrack to manage those bumps, go up the racetrack, down the racetrack, and it's a lot hotter today than what it was yesterday. And you know as well as I do, when this racetrack gets hot, especially with these Gen 7 cars, they lose overall grip, that front end starts to go first.
Carson Hocevar took off and instantly opened up a 7/10 of a second lead as we watch from the Ford Racing Cam on board Chris Buescher. Well, that's due in part to that clean air. Kevin just talked about it. So important to keep that clean air. That's why you push hard on Saturday to try to get that qualifying effort. Not only do you get clean air on the racetrack, you get the number 1 box all day long. Everything goes easier.
And really where these cars, we're going to start to see who's got the best handling cars. It's going to be lap 15 to 20. That's when you're going to start to see the swing and handling as to whatever you have and where it's going to migrate to. So right now, a lot of clean racetrack, no lap traffic. Everything's okay for Hocevar and all these guys up front.
And that comment is right in line with what Christopher Bell told us at the pre-race show. Wait for some laps on these tires. You're starting to separate the men from the boys.
Carson Hocevar, this is a great racetrack for him, winning the Texas truck race on Friday night. He also got his first career truck race win back in 2023 at Texas, and his first career Cup Series pole last season in this very race as well. Here he is sitting on the pole for the 2nd consecutive year. He's led the first 7 laps, and he's already out to about a 1-second lead over his teammate Daniel Suarez. Roughly 0.8 of a second ahead as of the start-finish line that last time by. Chase Briscoe sits in the 3rd place position at 1.2 seconds out of the lead. 1.6 seconds back for Denny Hamlin in 4th, and Kyle Busch 2.6 seconds out of the lead rounds out the top 5. Clean air is king at Texas. It is very difficult to pass on this racetrack. Track position going to be very difficult to come by, and it's going to be interesting to see for those drivers who start towards the back, like a Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, who should be quick on the 1.5-mile track again today, as they typically are on 1.5-mile tracks, to navigate their way through the pack. Joey Logano, another one that didn't qualify particularly well yesterday, has struggled on intermediate tracks already this season. He's starting outside the top 20, and being back in that dirty air versus Hocevar running the fastest laps of the day with the clean air at the front of the pack. You also got to worry about potentially going a lap down at some point in time by the end of this first 80-lap stage if we do go caution-free. That is going to be something to watch, as the back half of the field nearly half a lap down already in just about 10 laps. Fastest lap for Hocevar in the early going was a 28.954. Last lap he just ran was a 29.732. So 0.8 of a second off already, but we're not going to see those tires more than likely cliff quite as much. But this track is still treacherous, and it's very easy to get sent sideways. Have a quick slip up from underneath the race car. Mid-corner speeds here faster than any other mile-and-a-half track, equating to the fastest lap times that we usually see on mile-and-a-half tracks, even with this Gen 6 car. Yesterday's pole time by Hocevar down in the 28.2s. Blistering fast lap. Denny Hamlin with a pass for third place on Daniel Suarez. Off turn 2, cleared him with a run to the high side, slipping in that right rear corner panel. Chase Briscoe got through to second place a couple laps ago. Still roughly 1.9 seconds out of the lead is Briscoe, and about 2 seconds back for Denny Hamlin in third. Top 10 in the running order at the end of the first 12 laps in the order in which they run. Carson Hocevar still leads. Chase Briscoe second. Daniel Suarez third. Denny Hamlin in fourth. Kyle Busch fifth. And Chris Buescher is in sixth place. Seventh for Christopher Bell. Ty Gibbs in eighth. Tyler Reddick ninth. And Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race. Big Bud 369. Thanks for tuning in. Is Larson out of this one? Pay attention to him when the race isn't on TV. No, he's still in this, very much so. Race just got started. Just a couple minutes ago. We're only on lap, 12? 13 now, lap 13 of 267, long ways to go. Larson didn't qualify particularly well. He's starting in the 11th place position. He's down 2 spots from the start to 13th, but definitely not out of this. Another former Texas winner. Got quite a few of them in the field. Quite a few drivers here in recent years, especially in the 2020s, that have only won here one time. A lot of the multi-time Texas winners were drivers who had won here way back in the early to mid-2010s, like a Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch. Not a ton of multi-time winners, though. You vote for who you think is going to win the race in our chat poll, which will stay open until the end of Stage 2. 58 votes have already been casted in the early going of the stream. 55% of you taking somebody other than Reddick, Hamlin, or Hocevar for the win. Those are my personal top 3. Denny Hamlin was my pick to win today's race. So surprised he's only got 7% of the votes. 9% for Reddick, who has won half the races this season. And Carson Hocevar on the pole. He's an underdog pick of mine for the race win today. Boy, is he riding a hot streak over the last week. Though those Toyotas that have been bad fast on these intermediate tracks this season and have really dominated and taken control of races are starting to close in on Hocevar pretty quickly in this medium run. I wouldn't even say long run right now because we're not even 20 laps in, but that short run, Hocevar was good the first 10 to 12 laps, and he's starting to slip up pretty fast. Briscoe was 0.4 faster than Carson Hocevar that last lap. Same for Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch also up to 4th place as Daniel Suarez, another Spire Chevy, started 2nd, is all the way back to 6th. The only reason Hocevar hasn't fallen back as far as Suarez is because Suarez had some dirty air from the start, being stuck behind the 77, while Hocevar's had clean air. He has not caught lap traffic yet. It's going to be a little bit before he catches the huge brunt of which. He does have Chad Fincham coming up in the next lap or so that he'll end up putting a lap down, but nobody else for the meantime after that. 2 open entries this weekend and the 36 chartered entries making up our starting grid, so 38 cars on the racetrack. Chad Fincham in the 66 for MBM. Second straight week he's been at the track, and Corey Heim in the 67 for 2311 Racing, also in the race today. Huge gains being made by both Briscoe and Hamlin. Top 3 under a blanket at the front of the field, working their way through turns 1 and 2. Carson Hocevar wrapping the bottom through that corner. Briscoe a little bit more momentum running that middle to upper groove and carrying some speed down the backstretch. Hocevar is going to do what he can to try to keep the lead as he mirror drives, slipped up the track in the middle of the corner, cut down in the center to block Briscoe. Briscoe has to lift off the throttle, got very tight in the wake of his dirty air, and Denny Hamlin will slip through to second place. And now Denny Hamlin, the veteran, will try to attack on Carson Hocevar. Clean air is king for Hamlin. Up on the high side through 1 and 2. Big momentum down the backstretch. Gets to the inside. And will take the lead into turn 3. Mistake by Briscoe, but not by Denny Hamlin. Passed him in a good spot. Got to the inside of Hocevar down the backstretch. And was able to clear him into turn 3. Briscoe tried to make the late dive, and it was too late. Ran out of real estate at the end of the back straightaway, and it costed him. Now Briscoe's going to try to get a run going here in that middle to upper groove of the racetrack, but Hamlin's running that line, so he's not going to carry as much speed as what he would the lap or so before that. Briscoe does get to the inside of Hocevar into turn 3 and still takes the second spot anyway. And Hocevar falls back to third. Kyle Busch on the move. Up at the front of the field. Good to see out of that RCR 8 car, qualifying in the 6th place position this weekend and looking good early. Busch led laps in this race last season, actually spun from the lead. So if you're a Kyle Busch fan wanting to see him get back to the promised land, which is victory lane in the NASCAR Cup Series race, he's had recent success here before, even in this 8 car at RCR, and he's off to a hot start here today. His pace isn't quite as good as the Toyotas of Hamlin and Briscoe in front of him, but he is outpacing Hocevar. And he's still within 2 seconds of the lead. Hamlin gapping Briscoe after getting to the race lead and getting by the 19 car as well in the process. So Hamlin leads by 1 second over Briscoe in second. Hocevar's fallen to 1.6 seconds back in third. Kyle Busch 2 seconds out of the lead in fourth. And 2.3 seconds back is Chris Buescher in fifth. Carson Hocevar was able to lead the first 19 laps of today's race from the pole, while Denny Hamlin now has led the last 3. A pass between Hamlin and Hocevar, the only lead change of the race so far. Ian Tate, thanks for tuning in. I don't know if I shouted you out yet, but I do see you. Will Reed, welcome to the stream also. Mel Smith, thanks for tuning in. Really hoping Alex Bowman finally gets a good finish. Well, he did last week. 3rd place for Bowman last week. Good qualifying effort this week. His best since coming back from injury for qualifying. And he's running 9th right now. He's actually the best of the Hendrick Motorsports Chevys. So good start, but we're very early in this race. We'll see how he puts a full race together. Biggest movers from the start of the race today, Denny Hamlin, or sorry, not Denny Hamlin. I saw the plus 11, and I instantly thought number 11. But no, Ryan Blaney up 11 spots. He qualified 31st. He's up to 20th now after just making a pass on Josh Berry. Bubba Wallace started in the last row of today's race in a backup car after crashing in practice yesterday with a spin in turns 1 and 2. He's also up 10 positions in this one. We have not seen anybody else up double-digit spots this early in the race. 12 spots game down for Hamlin, or I keep saying Hamlin, for Ryan Blaney. Blaney up 12 positions in the number 12 to 19th. Wallace up 10 spots to 27th. Austin Dillon started in that last row after the engine change, but he's only up 3 positions right now. Former Texas winner is Austin Dillon, but struggling here today. Also ran the O'Reilly race yesterday and had a flat tire in the middle going. Ended up finishing a couple laps down because of it. So Busch is catching Hocevar, but he's not running the pace that the Toyotas were able to run when catching that 77. And Hocevar starting to back up a huge wad of cars between himself to 7th place Ty Gibbs. So 3rd through 7th is only separated by 1 second right now. That's 5 cars for position. All backed up behind Hocevar, who just does not have the pace on this long run to start the race. Suarez has already fallen from 2nd to 14th. In the first 28 laps, as he is also struggling on the long run. Hocevar hanging on just a little bit better. Michael McDowell in the 71 car came close to a win in this race a season ago. He's 25th. He's also lost 6 positions from the start in 19th. So Spire qualifying well yesterday, but in the race itself, the long run speed is very much a struggle. And we'll see if they can make some adjustments to try to help themselves out before they lose too much track position, especially for Hocevar since he's still in the top 5. Bam Hall, thanks for tuning in. I thought I got you, Bam. Regina Huddleston, thanks for tuning in also. Got just over 100 concurrent viewers watching already. Thank you so much for tuning in here this afternoon. Full flag-to-flag coverage of the Wurth 400 at Texas. We're working lap 30 of 80 right now in stage 1. Caution-free so far. And we should be having pit stops pretty shortly if some of these teams try to split this stage in half. 40 and 40. Flying by early on. Already 30 laps complete, about 15 minutes. They come back from commercial. I'll let you listen into a little bit of the Fox Sports 1 broadcast. Again, Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, and Clinton Boyer on the call yet again. Second to last race on Fox this season for the points races, and then they'll also have the All-Star race at Dover the week after. Amazon Prime Video going to be taking care of full flag-to-flag coverage for every Cup race in the month of June, as well as the Memorial Day weekend race with the Coca-Cola 600 coming up here at the end of the month. Yeah, Bell's pitting at the short side of the run, shortest side he could possibly pit on.
His teammate, they're coming, and more of them starting to come, Jamie. That's right. The 19 was going to stay on a couple more laps, but they started seeing the two things come in. So James Briscoe is tight, be nervous with the rear's air pressure. Johnson here.
Jason Rand and Kyle Larson in the pit lane, along with Connor Zilich, who was running in 16th.
These early pit stops, easy to make mistakes, Kevin. Yeah, and that's the thing that you don't want to do here in Texas. You, especially during these green flag pit stops, you don't want to have a mistake. Speeding, something that you have to come back to pit road for.
Riley Herbst, Michael McDowell getting service.
She's going to draw the 11 in. That puts pressure on them. Look for him to pit.
Zach Smith, Chris Busher,
Hand out the window on your lead.
Kyle Busch getting 4 tires. Yeah, Byron is in. Austin Cindric.
And your leader, Denny Hamlin.
Hamlin to the front end of pit road.
Yeah, as soon as Christopher Bell came to pit road, everybody else didn't want to give up that track position because they know how difficult it is to pass. Regan?
Well, Kevin, that's exactly what happened in the pit stall here. As soon as the 20 car hit pit road, Denny Hamlin's team put their helmets on, began to get ready. As for the car right now for Denny, just a little bit too cream when he got out front. Otherwise, it's been good.
I'll take your hats off to Ross Chastain because he had the sticker thing out of his pit box, so not to impede Hamlin.
Speaking of a stutter, right there on the 11, almost stalled it coming out. Keep an eye on this up here. The race is on.
Denny Hamlin just leaving pit road on the apron of turns 1 and 2, while Chase Briscoe at speed, pitting a lap before Denny Hamlin, trying to take advantage on the slightly 35-plus lap fresher tires. Hamlin getting to speed on the back straightaway, but Briscoe will bypass him as Hamlin still builds momentum into turn 3. Briscoe clear by several car lengths. Carson Hocevar, Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Todd Gillen, Brad Keselowski, John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, Cody Ware have yet to hit pit road. Top 10 cars have not yet been to the pits. Briscoe is in 11th, first of those that have already made a pit stop. And because you can run 64 to 68 laps on a full fuel run here at Texas, we could potentially see those drivers that are on the track right now stay out for yet another 20-plus laps yet. and hope for a caution to get this track position back, force everybody to have to come back to pit road and hang on for a little bit longer. Ty Gibbs has made his way into the pits. All right, we're officially halfway through stage one right now. 40 laps down, another 40 still to go. We'll see if that means we're going to have more cars pit this upcoming lap with trying to split it immediately down the middle. Briscoe setting a much faster pace right now on those fresher tires. And Carson Hocevar going to pit from the lead. And we've seen Brad Keselowski on intermediate tracks with this next-gen car in the past try to take the run a little bit longer. Josh Berry in the 21 for the Wood Brothers on his way to pit road, so he will surrender the lead this time by. Keselowski, the new leader. So in Custer and Berry onto the pits. Brad Keselowski is the new race leader. We've seen 4 lead changes in this one. Caution free through 43 laps, and we are just rounding out our wave of green flag pit stops. Lap car Austin Dillon, who just came out of the pit lane right in front of race leader Chase Briscoe, or soon to be race leader Chase Briscoe, backing him up a little bit in the dirty air, and Denny Hamlin closing in on the 19 again. Brad Keselowski to pit road. All right, so headed to commercial on Fox Sports 1. Chase Briscoe has picked up the race lead post green flag pit stops. First lead of the day for the driver of the number 19 Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry. Denny Hamlin sitting in the second place position. Third is Christopher Bell. Kyle Busch is going to be fourth. Fifth place is Chris Buescher. Carson Hocevar in sixth. Chase Elliott seventh. Ty Gibbs eighth. Alex Bowman ninth. And Tyler Reddick rounds out the top 10. 11th place is William Byron with Kyle Larson in 12th, Austin Cindric 13th, Ryan Preece 14th, Ryan Blaney 15th, Connor Zilic in 16th, 17th is Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones in 18th, Ross Chastain 19th, and Joey Logano 20th. 21st for Corey Heim, Zane Smith in 22nd, Bubba Wallace 23rd, Josh Berry 24th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 25th, Michael McDowell 26th, A.J. Allmendinger 27th, Todd Gilliland 28th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 29th, and John Hunter Nemechek is 30th. 31st for Noah Gragson, Brad Keselowski 32nd, Austin Dillon 33rd, last car on the lead lap, and actually I think he just went a lap down at the hands of Chase Briscoe. Looking at it right now, no, actually still in front of him, barely holding Briscoe up. So Austin Dillon is still the last car on the lead lap. Then you got Ty Dillon in 34th, first car lap down. Then Cole Custer 35th, Riley Herbst 36th, Cody Ware 37th, and Chad Fincham 38th, rounding out the full 38-car field. 47 laps complete out of 80 in Stage 1 and 267 total in today's race. Just over 24 minutes in. 5 lead changes, most of which during green flag pit stops. Christopher Bell taking over the race lead from his teammates Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin after rocketing towards the front of the pack. Remember, Bell had pitted before Briscoe and Hamlin. But Briscoe struggling in that lap traffic behind Austin Dillon, and Bell's able to bypass both the 11 and the 19. Looking very fast as Christopher and pulling away right now. Bell up 6 positions from his 7th place starting position. His fastest lap of the race was lap 38, just after his green flag pit stop. Chris Buescher in the top 5 also with a fastest lap of the race for himself on lap 40 post green flag pit stops. They're the only 2 drivers in the top 6 that have had their fastest laps in the back half of stage 1. Further back in the top 10, great adjustments were made, picking up lap time speeds for Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Tyler Reddick, Byron Larson, Cindric Blaney, and others. At last lap, Bell, a 29.83. Briscoe was in the ballpark of that with a 29.82, actually a slight bit faster by a couple thousandths of a second. See if he can run him back down again. That's because Bell has now started to close on Austin Dillon, who's still at the tail end of the lead lap.
He's up out of groove. He didn't hit the bottom like Danny was able to 3-car and run that outside, get low. Now, wait a minute. That lapper's going right back around him. Yeah, and he's fighting for his life to stay on the lead lap. And Briscoe tried to block it right there. But I think that the thing that I've noticed is Christopher Bell has found a lane that everybody can't really run up the racetrack, and he's making some hay. Makes the pass on the bottom. Briscoe chooses wrong right there. Gets in the same lane as the 3-car. Bell goes by him, but Bell can go to the bottom, he can go to the top. He's got a very versatile car right now. Jamie?
Yeah, just to the 19, been listening to him. They were really out of the balance overall yesterday, but so far today, they're fast, but that air is messing with them. Right after that moment, you guys just showed on the radio and said, I am just wrecking through something. Not sure what happened. And all these guys, I can remember down here. They're just
Certainly is, Jeremy. And where's that wind blowing? Right down the back straightaway, making you lose green into turn 3. Yeah, it always seems like the wind blows in the same direction here, down that back straightaway. But when it starts to whip it, it definitely makes a difference in how that car handles. This track has not been kind to Christian Bell. He's like 4 laps today, 7 than in his total Texas career. He led only 6 total. But I heard, you know, when Kevin was just telling me, he said the word versatile, and that's a dirt racer. You got a hot, slick racetrack, find the way around them, find the clean air, and that's a versatile dirt racer. And that's the part that keeps you getting hung up in traffic here. And, you know, the thing about Christopher Bell right now, we kind of talked about what he needs to do. He's kind of been inconsistent. They've had some bad luck. They've, you know, through the years, kind of taken the days that probably thought that they should win or run in a certain position and then have a mistake. You can't do that in this point system. I think they have a car fast enough to be able to race for the championship and do exactly what he's doing today as we watch Denny Hamlin go under the 19 car of Chase Briscoe and take his effort at trying to get himself by the 3-car. That 3-car has been He's been a tough pass. He's been a tough pass as both these guys have kind of taken a swing at it, not been able to really make it happen easily. Briscoe's car just hasn't taken off on this new set of tires. He said on the radio, very loose. Holding on to that car, the 19. Behind him, Kyle Busch holding in 4th after a good stop, and Chris Buescher ripped. And you see the center Hosbar right at the bottom of our screen right there. Kyle Busch is actually driven almost to the back bumper of that 19 car of Chase Briscoe. Now our pole sitter, Hosbar, came out of the pit stop cycle in 7th, but the driver who shared the front row with him, not quite as lucky, Josh.
Yeah, we talked on the top of the race about Daniel Suarez and how they had some speed after practice. They were struggling with the handling of the speed and out there. Suarez coming over the radio complaining about that car, and then recently came over complaining about a vibration in that second car. The team said we're going to have to ride it out, but let us know if it gets worse. Jamie?
the right direction at the 12 of Ryan Blaney up to the 13 already. That's 18 spots better than where he started today. It was interesting talking to his coach, Jonathan Hasbro, this morning. You know, he reminded me Penske Racing has struggled on mile-and-a-half tracks. He said, however, a few weeks ago, we got to be part of the test at Chicagoland Speedway. That's another mile-and-a-half. He said, we actually learned some things from our setup today, so maybe not too concerned about it. They're just only too tight, so they're going to learn. They're going forward, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Starting in first, Blaney running in 15th after the first round of pit stops here. On your screen, Corey Heim 19th, Daniel Suarez 20th. We still have 31 cars on the lap back to Shane Van Gisberger after 59 of 80 laps. Stage 1, Christopher Bell out front in Texas.
Go through the full field running order with 20 laps to go at stage 1. Christopher Bell, the race leader, with Denny Hamlin in second. Chase Briscoe third, a GR 1-2-3 run. Kyle Busch at fourth, not far off of Briscoe. And then Chris Buescher rounds out the top 5 and fifth. He's the highest running Ford. Ty Gibbs in sixth. Carson Hocevar, the pole sitter, at seventh after leading 19 laps. Chase Elliott up to eighth. Tyler Reddick ninth. Alex Bowman rounds out the current top 10. William Byron in 11th, Kyle Larson 12th, Ryan Blaney up 18 spots to 13th after starting 31st, Ryan Preece in 14th, and Austin Cindric 15th. 16th is Connor Zilch with Eric Jones in 17th, Joey Logano 18th, Corey Heim 19th, and Daniel Suarez in 20th. 21st for Bubba Wallace after starting at the rear, Josh Berry 22nd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 23rd, Ross Chastain 24th, Zane Smith 25th, 26th for AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell in 27th, Todd Gilliland 28th, John Hunter Nemechek 29th, and Brad Keselowski in 30th. Shane Van Gisbergen last car in the lead lap at 31st, with Noah Gragson currently the first car lap down in 32nd. 33rd for Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon 34th, 35th Cole Custer, Riley Herbst 36th, Cody Ware 37th, and Chad Fincham rounds out our 38-car field. It's a full field lineup. As we're late in stage 1, you're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race continues. Yes, Blaney is the man on the move. Stage points awarded to the top 10 positions at the end of lap 80. We're going to do some short NASCAR trivia, by the way, at the end of stage 1. Just to let you all know, we're going to do a NASCAR Sporkle quiz because we were not able to do so in the pre-race. So we're going to do that at the end of stage 1. Going to pick a short quiz for this week. And I'm thinking we're going to do Texas winners. Texas Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck winners. That'll be our stage 1 quiz. So during the stage 1 caution, we'll have quiz there. I'll pause it in the middle so you can still hear the pit stops when that does end up happening when we do get there. So you're more than willing to play along in the chat. Try to help us get as close to a 100% as possible during that said quiz. Adventures of BZ, thanks for tuning in. Kenny G2010 WDE, thanks for tuning in as well. On 1771, should be a great race. 1.5 miles with this car, usually pretty good. Stu8834, thanks for tuning in. Hoping Denny gets it done today. Yeah, he's my pick for the win. Hamlin was my pre-race pick. My fantasy team is probably not going to indicate exactly who I think is going to win today. Let me check that fantasy team real quick, actually. Because I did not get it in before the start of the race. So I'm going to be stuck with whoever I had last week, which might not be the worst thing. But I definitely would have liked to have had like Hamlin, maybe Bell on here. We got a pass, actually, for the race lead right now between Hamlin and Bell. Nearly side by side for right now. 13 laps to go at stage 1. Hamlin got to the inside of Bell through turns 3 and 4. He'll have the shortest way around the track advantage through turns 1 and 2. And clear up out of turn 2. Denny Hamlin to the lead at Texas. And out blocking his teammate Christopher Bell down the back straightaway. Into turn 3, Bell trying to get to the outside of Hamlin. Hamlin slips up in the middle of the corner. He was in the dirty air behind Kissel. Oh, we got a spinner right in front of the leaders. Bell gets clipped by the 34 of Gilliland. It slams into the outside wall on the front stretch. Oh, the race leader's around after hitting the lap car in front that was spinning off turn 4. Hamlin was checking up because he had saw the wreck in front of him. Bell was trying to gas it up and get through there, and he just got clipped in the right rear as Gilliland was sliding down the banking of turn 4.
Spinning just barely right there. Around.
Man.
Yeah, he's done. You want to talk about bad luck?
A lot of cars trying to stay on the lead as we get close to the end of the stage. That tire whirling around the right front is not going to do any.
What a tough break for Christopher Bell.
Outside the top 15.
Well, let's watch it again. You see the car get sideways up on the high lane. Tries to get in the gas. It does. To keep it out of the wall, brings it down. It just barely clips Bell. Turns him right head on into the wall. And Bell is in just such an awkward spot right there. He's got Denny Hamlin below him, racing for the lead. You see him coming down the racetrack, but you can only turn it so hard down the racetrack before it'll just spin out.
Pancaked the wall with the right side of his car. Ugh.
Back in the gas, they're trying to beat him. Just barely. So.
Wow. Both ends.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. He hit hard.
And he's already 9th in the points. Reckon before stage 1 right here. Devastating point-wise.
Larry, we're going to have 10 laps to go when pit road opens. What are we going to see?
Yeah, we've been well over 20 laps since those pit stops. I think you're going to see most of them take 4. But remember, we're going to go back racing with about 7 or 8 laps going to stage. Don't be surprised to see somebody roll the dice and maybe try just 2 here.
Here come most all the lead lap cars to get rolling. 10 to go in the stage. Jamie?
And Chase Briscoe, the 19, comes in from second. Led his first laps ever at Texas. Earlier led 4 laps there. To a stop in his box there. He moves earlier as we reported. The bumps have really been affecting him as well. Air pressure. Regan?
Kyle Busch just a little bit too tight this run. Found leaking damage to the right front some. An adjustment for that. Denny Hamlin a little tight at max load. Josh?
For Chris Wurth, he went up to the sides, been too tight, too loose, too tight this last run. Tires are peel here.
There is the race off pit road. 5 cars stayed out, led by Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse. Gilliland goes, spins, and collects race leader Christopher Bell.
Yeah, it was a very hard hit for Bell right in the middle of that D-shaped front stretch. It just passed that first kink in front of the start-finish line. Power slammed the wall with the right side of his race car. Pancaked it pretty good. I think Bell's going to be done for the day, unfortunately. Tough break for Christopher. 9th in points, as Kevin Harvick alluded to coming into the race today, and he's not going to get any stage points and a poor finish. Could knock him out of the top 10 in points. First year of this new kind of chase format. We don't know exactly how high up in the points you're going to want to be in that championship contention. Many within the sport kind of feel that top 5 range, top 5 or 6 is going to be where you're going to want to be to have the best position and the most realistic shot to win the championship come chase time. So if Bell falls out of the top 10 in points here today, that is going to be a brutal blow. Could be his 4th finish outside of the top 15 in the last 5 races here today, assuming they can't keep that car in the lead lap and keep him in. And he's already 3 laps down. I'd be shocked if he can continue. Chad Fitchum had pulled off the track about 20 laps ago before Christopher Bell, but could return to the track and pick up enough spots to pass him if Bell's going to be out of the race. So we had 5 cars stay out of the pits. A few 2-tire strategy calls. And I believe Denny Hamlin was the first off pit road who took 4 tires. He's in 8th. The top 5 who stayed out, Eric Jones is in the lead now. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 2nd, Ross Chastain 3rd, AJ Allmendinger 4th, and John Hunter Nemechek will be 5th on the restart. Carson Hocevar won the race out of the pits with right side tires only. Ryan Preece in 7th, also taking rights only. And then Hamlin on back with 4 fresh tires. You got Denny Hamlin in 8th, Chase Briscoe 9th, Kyle Busch 10th, Ty Gibbs 11th, and Chase Elliott 12th. Good for those 5 that stayed out. They're going to have quite a few buffer cars around that front row to try to go for the Stage 1 win. All those drivers who did stay out are outside of the top 16 in the Chase cutoff line point standing, so looking to build on some potential high stage points here.
The first 5 drivers on your pylon there stayed out and did not stop. Hocevar and Preece in 6th and 7th took 2 tires each. All those drivers looking for stage points just 8 laps from now.
Yeah, and these are the types of situations where your car gets torn up because you have the variance in speed from the guys that are at the front of the pack, the guys on the tire strategy, all the 4-tire cars back in the middle. But look, there's points on the line here in a short amount of time at the end of this stage. So good opportunity for some of these guys to grab some unexpected points in stage 1 here.
And nothing but the Corvette pace car in front of the Advent Health Cab of Eric Jones is our leader. Now, Ryan Blaney, pit road. What happened?
Well, the wheels fell off the bus, but I think this time might take a little blame. Let's listen.
It's like he's got it in the wrong gear. Second gear. That's what I'm kept lugging on the restart. Jamie?
You guys nailed it right there. Just talked to the team, and they said he got it stuck in gear trying to exit the box, and that was the problem. He took it hard on himself, guys, but we've seen him come to the field once today. We're going to have to see him do it again as he'll restart 27.
Well, I'm almost glad to see that because the changes that have been made have been very positive these last 2 weeks. As Coach Gibbs has a word with Christopher Bell out of race after being collected in Todd Gilliland's spin. Gilliland, racing as hard as he could, was trying to keep from going a lap down.
Yeah, really hard to run that high up on the racetrack with where that bump is off of turn 4.
Speaking of racing hard as you could, watch these old tires, 2 tires. This is going to get moved.
6 laps to go at Stage 1. It's going to be a little dash for the Stage 1 cash. Green flag back in the air. Great launch for Eric Jones on the inside of row number 1. Stenhouse trying to give him a run for his money on the outside. And all those on 4 fresh tires trying to pounce in these 6 laps to get to the front. 4 wide in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Hamlin, Briscoe up near the outside, making subtle contact with one another. A few cars down below them, Kyle Busch, one of which, and Carson Hocevar, master on the restarts this weekend, trying to thread the needle 3 wide to the bottom underneath of Ross Chastain and A.J. Allmendinger. Hocevar was putting on a clinic in the Truck Series race Friday night on restarts here at Texas, and he's the first to try to get through this pack of old tires up in front of him. Well, I believe Kyle Busch and Ty Gibbs are the first on 4 fresh Goodyears. Remember, Hocevar took right sides only. But Hocevar is up to 3rd, while Busch and Gibbs are side by side for 6th, and Gibbs will take over that spot from Busch, who cuts all the way down the track, almost on top of Chase Briscoe, who sneaks underneath him as well. It is a scrum of race cars in the middle of that pack, right around 10th place. Still jockeying 2 and 3 wide. Chase Elliott 3 wide to the bottom into turn 3 on Denny Hamlin, Ryan Preece. Hamlin having to lift as he's sandwiched tightly in the middle. Cindric going to squeeze underneath and follow the whole of the 9 car as well. Almost some contact between Hamlin and Preece, as there is not a lot of real estate on this front stretch here at Texas to run 3 wide. All 3 of those cars nearly bouncing off of one another as they work their way past the start-finish line. Well, I was expecting that restart to be chaotic, and it definitely was. Everybody kept their cards going in the correct direction, which is good to see. Erik Jones still the race leader with 2 laps to go now in stage 1. Carson Hocevar just over a half a second behind him. Kyle Busch with a meaty block on the 24 of William Byron as he was trying to also make a pass on Chastain with the old tires in front of him, and he's able to do both successfully. Busch holds on for 7th. Chastain still trying to hold on for some kind of stage points. It's in a Hendrick Motorsports sandwich. 3 wide in the middle between Byron and Elliott. Elliott gets by. Byron still up on the high side. Denny Hamlin trying to follow, and I think Chastain's going to fall out of the top 10 here before he gets to the end of stage 1. Hocevar is too far behind to catch Erik Jones, so it looks like Erik Jones should hold on and win the opening stage of today's race. Good strategy call. Both Legacy Motor Club cars stayed out. Nemechek fell out of the top 10, but the clean air advantage for Erik Jones pays off wonders. He wins stage 1 here at Texas. Carson Hocevar 2nd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. restarted on the front row, ends up 3rd in the stage. Good for him and the Hyatt team as well. Ty Gibbs 4th. Chase Briscoe 5th. Kyle Busch 6th by a nose over A.J. Allmendinger in 7th. Chase Elliott 8th. William Byron 9th. Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position, 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for 10th at the end of stage 1. All right, time for some NASCAR trivia while we're at the end of this first stage. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep our live commentary coverage going. We didn't get a chance to do this in the pre-race. So every pre-race, usually for these NASCAR Cup Series live commentary streams, we do a little NASCAR trivia to get our brains working here. We're going to do Texas. Let me back up real quick. Website's already a little on the slow side, so I'm going to log out and try to log back in again. Maybe. Okay, NASCAR Sporkle. NASCAR Texas winners. And I'm going to pull the chat up every once in a while. You guys can play at home, and we're going to see if we're going to get as close to 100% as possible. So this is going to be Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series race winners all time at Texas Motor Speedway. This is up to modern day 2025. First race in all 3 series here were in 1997. So from 97 to 2025, we had races at Texas across the top 3 series. And we need to name all the winners. I don't believe the all-star races that they had here count. So like Ryan Blaney's all-star race win in 2022, Larson's in 21. I don't think that those count. And we'll see if we can get the perfect score. This website has acted very slow today, I will say. We only have 6 minutes. There's 143. We'll do the best we can. Apologize if everything looks like slow on your screen as well. We're going to go Cup Series first. So I know Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick on here, Joey Logano last season, Chase Elliott the year before that. Jeff Gordon is a former winner here. Jimmy Johnson is a former winner here. Greg Biffle has won a race. Edwards, Kenseth. Denny Hamlin's won a few. Kyle Busch. Truex. Truex isn't on here? Okay, that's shocking. I'm not going to lie. Larson. Ryan Blaney did win an O'Reilly race here. Gregson, I know Sam Mayer has won an O'Reilly races here. Grant Enfinger, right? No. Carson Hocevar in trucks. Mark Martin's a former winner here. Tony Stewart. Here's an interview with Christopher Bell while the quiz is going on.
Yeah, man. Green colors, racing. Yeah, we just cut the feet away from having a great game. But yeah, it's gonna turn around sometime.
See you Watkins then. Mike?
All right, that was Christopher Bell following his crash moments ago. I put Earnhardt on here because he got his first career win at Texas, and I also put in who else did I just put moments ago? Well, that was going on. Ryan Newman. Put Ryan Newman as well. So. Keselowski win maybe. Okay, I was gonna say maybe he won an O'Reilly race here. He did. McMurray? Nope. Todd Bodine. Hornaday for trucks. Mike Skinner for trucks. Nope. Try Johnny Benson. Jack Sprague. Sprague's on here. Six minutes is not a lot of time. Got pit stops going on. I'll let you listen in there. Yes, Elliott Sadler. That's right. Sadler. Dale Jarrett on here? Yep. Casey Kane.
Right there, you see the screen is Kyle Larson. We haven't talked about him at all today, Clint, but usually we're talking about how fast he is right here. But he's been struggling today.
Connor. No, Zillage didn't win here. And it's 2023, I guess. Who won the truck race last season here? Mac Crafton on the list, maybe? Crafton's on here twice. Majeski? No. Eckes? No. Oh, Corey Heim, of course. Of course, Heim won the truck race here last season. Allmendinger? Justin Haley. Oh, I know Trevor Bayne, Stenhouse have won here in the Nationwide Series days. Cole Custer? Did Riley Herbst win here? No. I did try Vickers already. He is not on the list. We're just talking to Christopher Bell. William Byron won in 2023. Ay, 2019. Man, if it wasn't 2017 to 2019, Truex has to be that guy, right? Didn't he win here in 2017? Jimmy Johnson won here 17. It was a fall race in 17. I'm missing though. I don't know who else I haven't named yet. Harvick. It was Kevin Harvick. Oh my gosh. There we go. I was like, who am I missing modern day? 2007, we got 99, 97 still. Oh gosh, that is not a lot of time, let me tell you. I didn't realize we were out of time already. Well, I told you guys it was going to be a quick quiz. We did not get the average score. I did not go quick enough. 6 minutes is not enough time to do this quiz. Because I definitely had more names in the holster. That is for sure. 2007 was Jeff Burton. Terry Labonte in 99. 97 was Jeff Burton as well. So those were the only two Cup drivers we missed. In O'Reilly action, John Hunter Nemechek has 2 wins here. I missed Harrison Burton, that's right, 2020. He had 4 wins that season. One was at Texas. Austin Cindric also won at Texas in 2020. Eric Jones swept in 2017, and he also won in 2015 in the O'Reilly Series. Joe Nemechek, Jeff Purvis also on the list. And we missed a lot of Truck Series, guys. Stuart Friesen, John Hunter Nemechek, Sheldon Creed, Johnny Sauter 3 times, Eric Jones, Jeff Burton, 2 more for Sauter. So Johnny Sauter's actually won here 5 times. Ted Musgrave's on the list, Clint Boyer. Brennan Gaughan won at Texas 4 times, all in a row. Travis Kvapil, Dennis Setzer, Brian Refner, Jay Sauter. Setzer again, Tony Raines, Kenny Irwin Jr. Yeah, missed a lot of the truck names. More or less, I definitely would have had more names had we had more time. But a rarity to not get the average score at the very least on the quizzes. Crazy. Probably because I was rushed middle of the race to do that instead of really taking the time to think about it in the pre-race. But I guess I failed. First time I did not get average score or above on one of those quizzes so far this season. End of stage number 1. Eric Jones, the stage 1 winner here today at Texas. Kyle Larson struggling today. Like he just came back onto pit road at the stage break. Yet again, currently 25th for Larson today. He was hovering right around 20th at the end of stage 1. It has been far from a Kyle Larson kind of day today. Larson won the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race yesterday afternoon. Led the most laps as well in that event. Pretty much dominated stage 3 was what happened for Larson en route to that victory. All right, so top half dozen on the restart. It'll be Carson Hocevar in the lead again. Ty Gibbs in second. Chase Briscoe in third. Kyle Busch fourth. Chase Elliott fifth. And William Byron sixth. But remember, Hocevar took right side tires only during the last pit stop. So he might struggle a bit on the long run if we do get another one here. Ty Gibbs outside of row 1. Green flag back in the air. Hocevar the control car, but doesn't have those fresher left side tires to try to pounce on. And down into turns 1 and 2, Ty Gibbs going to hold him tightly to the bottom of the racetrack. Another great restart for Chase Briscoe as he rockets in front of Kyle Busch for third place. And down the back straightaway, cuts to the inside, gets blocked by Hocevar into turn 3. Sharp angle getting into the corner for the 77. Still carries some pretty decent mid-corner speed, though. And Ty Gibbs and Hocevar tightly contested for the lead still. Gibbs by inches will lead that lap at the line. First lap led for Ty Gibbs today. Carson Hocevar, though, still on the inside looking to take the spot away for the race lead. Rounds out the bottom lane really well again, but has to give a little bit of room to the top for Gibbs. Gibbs trying to chase Hocevar down the track for his side draft. Wasn't able to quite get to the corner panel. These two are driving the wheels off of the race cars. And they're still tied up for the lead. Hocevar leads that time by at the line. Ty Gibbs with the nose out in front into turns 1 and 2 again. Waiting for him to prevail on that outside line, especially in turns 1 and 2, if he can get up off the exit of the corner and beat Hocevar back to the gas. He's got that straighter line exit speed. Hocevar just able to slide clear in the middle of 3 and 4. Gibbs gets tight as a 77 washed up in front of him, and Chase Briscoe will slide into second behind Hocevar. Gibbs falls to third, and he still lost that momentum enough so that Chase Elliott will peek to the outside into turn 1 now for third. Kyle Busch struggling on the restart, side by side with Chris Buescher, in the 17. Door-to-door battle for 5th. And Kyle Busch will be clear. One car had to lift in a spin off of turn 4. William Byron has gone around on the front stretch. Somebody narrowly missed him to the outside as he was coming down the racetrack.
That could have been a massive wreck, Mike.
A good thing he didn't go all the way through the grass because it has this weekend. Well, you're up. No. And Byron got by with one there. Caution flag. Lap 93. Now lane onward champ. William Byron. Well, he came around right in front of half the field. We'll have to see, much like Gibbs, it was in the vicinity of this bump, Kevin. The bump is the tunnel. You see him up here in the front of your screen. And actually the tunnel's back there, but it could see the car's already sideways.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because of that bump.
Yeah, what'll happen is you'll go through that bump, and as it rebounds out of the bump and starts to come up in the air, that car will get higher off the ground and lose downforce. Oh, man, Logano all but wiped that 24 out, but almost identical to Todd Gilliland's wreck, being up the racetrack, hitting the bump, and that car just snapping around.
He was running in 7th place. Let's run along.
Listen to this phone. Hang on. And you can see right there when he bottomed out in the seat, you can see his body go down, and that car spins right around just in time for the bump.
This caution is exactly for the leader Hocevar what he needed. Let's get these 2 tires off now and reestablish with these guys.
It's also what everybody needed that just pitted. Jamie?
Yeah, they were going back and forth on the radio for Chase Briscoe. They're right on the edge of the fuel window when they wanted to come in and pit, so they decided to say yes, right.
Oh, contact!
Chase Briscoe.
Like the 9 car Chase Elliott, we see him exiting pit road right now. The car squirming to take off, but they made it better on that most recent run.
The 88 and the 4 overshot their pit. There's damage there. Is that Logano?
That's Logano right there. He ran into the back of Cole Custer, who was checking up to let the 54 out of his pit box, and
that left hit him. But the left front's towed way out too. I think it's got a tow link broke yet. That car's killed. That car we're gonna have to come back left front for all. There's Custer and the red and yellow. The Andy's going.
Wow, he just stopped.
Stop.
All that work Joey Logano did to miss the spinning 24 car William Byron just to have a crash on pit road during the caution flag and pit stops. My goodness. What a crazy last like 15 to 20 minutes we've endured. Between Christopher Bell having a spin from the lead after contact with Todd Gilliland, who had spun right in front of him at the tail end of the lead lap. Flipping the stage for some drivers, leading for a surprise Eric Jones Stage 1 victory. Great battle on the restart between Hocevar and Gibbs. Hocevar wins the battle. Byron spins off turn 4, slides down the racetrack. Narrowly missed by several drivers, Logano included, and then only for there to be multiple collisions on pit road. First, Chase Briscoe was trying to get out of his box as Larson was coming into his. They made contact door to door, slowing both of their overall stops down. And then later on pit road, Ty Gibbs was working his way out of his box as Cole Custer was on his way in. Custer came to a complete stop right in front of Joey Logano. Logano could not miss him, clips the left front of Logano's car to the right rear of Custer. Both fenders torn completely off the car, and it looked like a toe link break perhaps on the 22 as well. Joey Logano came into this race 15th in points to try to make the chase. It has been a struggle for that 22 team this season. This could knock him out of the chase after the 11th race of the season here today. Already with no stage points in stage 1, and not so good day as it was, and good day gone even, or bad day gone even worse now, and we've got a red flag all of a sudden here while we're under caution already, so hopefully nothing too serious has happened here, but we do have a red, oh, okay, never mind. It said red flag on my screen. And we are still under caution. It was a false alarm. That actually made me a little nervous when I saw red flag because of all the contact we saw in pit road. I'm like, oh, I hope nobody's hurt, but no, still under caution. Federico Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Taylor Walston is playing along with the fantasy, or not the fantasy, sorry, the trivia. Alpine fan. Been in here for a minute. Thanks for tuning in as well. I mean, there's nowhere to go. He had cars to his outside, and the car just stopped right in front of him. Wow.
Spin earlier, but William Byron just gets by, but I guess too many stops at the luck bank.
Yeah, well, he survived at 175 miles an hour, and then down pit road at about 35, completely tore the left front off. And in those moments, in the driver's seat, you're trying to navigate everything, looking forward, looking in your mirror, and it all happened pretty fast. I'm not sure if he was looking in his mirror.
We see it all the time. When you have guys taking 2 tires, some taking 4 tires, it leads to calamity on that pit road.
I'm going to even add to it. You had a lot of drivers like Michael McDowell, Cedric Almaneer, Chastain, and Jones doing fuel only. So you had all kinds of agendas, quick pit stops that time. That led to a lot of that.
Well, for Joey Logano, this season has been Way up, way down. He's the defending winner of this race, goes off on the hook. Finishes. Bottom. So sport of humbling, won't it?
About the time you think you're on the top, you wind up trying to figure out how to even get back on track to finish a race. And right now, that's where that 22 team is, unfortunately.
And he'll probably fall out of chase contention. He was 15th coming in.
Tough season for Joey Logano continues. Green flag back in the air for those who end up staying out of the pits here. Corey Heim will retake the race lead, his first lead of the day. And the number 67 part-time driver for 2311 Racing, and a rookie at that, alongside Zane Smith and Brad Keselowski towards the front row. Top half dozen on the restart. Corey Heim is the leader. Zane Smith second. Brad Keselowski third. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in fourth. Daniel Suarez fifth. And John Hunter Nemechek in sixth. All those cars stayed out of the pits. Chase Elliott, I believe, was the first off of pit road in the 7th place position for the restart. It didn't go too many green flag laps, so that's why we saw quite a few drivers stay out. We saw Eric Jones win the opening stage, hanging on for at least 6 laps when he had about 5 cars in total, 4 behind him in the running order, stay out of the pits. And they had much older tires than what we just saw for those that just stayed out this time around. Caution's leading for a little bit of a change-up in the strategy side of things with track position gamesmanship, and looking here up out of turn 2. Got that mix of drivers on 4 fresh tires and some on... Oh, somebody just cracked the wall, I believe, through 3 and 4. Do we not have a camera on that yet? Ty Gibbs. I saw somebody go up the racetrack and hit the wall, and then there was nothing until we see a smoking Ty Gibbs at the end of the front stretch. It almost looked like a tire went down. Caution's out again.
This is where you're trying to get by cars forcing an issue, or it looks like right here. It's going to put an end to Ty Gibbs' thing.
Corey Heim, part-time driver. Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's team, A311, has the Xfinity fastest lap of the race. Just set 2 laps ago, and Brad Keselowski also set his personal best on that lap. Husvar, early in the race, ran his quickest lap back at lap 2. All right, let's see what happened to Ty Gibbs. You can see him back here in the back. I think he got help, Kevin. I can't tell who's the car behind him, but I think it might be Ryan Preece.
Yeah, he definitely got into the back of him for sure.
And that's a product. All right, he lost that track position. I just said, man, he was just running up front when he got sideways, hit that bumper.
Yep.
And continuing for the lead, the point spot. Gets mired back in traffic with a 4-tire stop, and now he's in the pits with a junk race car. Another single car caution seems to be the hallmark of the Texas Motor Speedway. A little damage on the nose of Preece's car. Probably got green paint on him. These caution laps are helping those cars that stayed out make it to the end on fuel. I don't see anybody pitting here.
Well, that's what you hope so. When you stay out on the racetrack like that, caution, please. I need to save some gas.
There's the Celsius cam of A.J. Allmendinger. Having a run here today. He's 15th.
Cautions breeding cautions really ever since the Todd Gilliland and Christopher Bell situation. Then we had the end of stage 1 at lap 80. 2 yellows after very little green flag racing in stage 2 so far, as we have now had 4 cautions total in today's race. 11 lead changes. Our current race leader is Corey Heim in the 67. With Brad Keselowski in second, Daniel Suarez third, Zane Smith fourth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in fifth, Chase Elliott is sixth, John Hunter Nemechek seventh, Riley Herbst in eighth, Tyler Reddick in ninth, Chris Buescher 10th, And that is the top 10 in the running order. ...103 laps complete out of 267. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race continues. AJF, thanks for tuning in. Michael, Niners fan for life, thanks for tuning in. Pulling for Larson. He's having a very tough day today. Have to refresh my fantasy team here. I don't think... definitely going to have to take Joey Logano out because he's out of the race. Had stage points for Byron, Hocevar, and Elliott in stage 1. I'm not going to get any head-to-head points this week either because I forgot my fantasy lineup, so that is tough for me. Not a good spot for me in the KRC Fantasy League. We'll check the standings coming into the league. You can join on the NASCAR mobile app or NASCAR.com website. Track Squirrel leading the way with 2,317 points so far this season. Freaky Fast 4 in second with 2,271. 2,253 for Monster Jam X10. Hercules Harrigan sitting in fourth with 2,252. Rounding out the top 5 is Troy the Great. 2,174 is where he sits. I was 6th coming in, too. I was making some moves. And today's not going to be so good. Unless I get a lot of help and other players in the fantasy league ahead of me also don't have a good day. But either way, not good for me. Couple of big hitters out of the race already, though. Joey Logano, Christopher Bell. Byron had a spin, but I do believe he's still on the lead lap. Contact on pit road for Chase Briscoe. We'll see how he can maybe rebound from that. Ty Gibbs now with severe damage.
Taken out of this race. What did you see there, Joe?
Yeah, everyone was trying to get 2 tires, and that whole field's past you because the pit stops are so fast at 2 tires, and it's checked up in front and stopped, and you're trying to look and trying to get up out of the way, and it just stopped, and there's nothing I can do about good stop in time. So it's been a tough year, Jamie, to say the least. But prior to the speed we had today, Discount Tire Mustang had good speed capable of going out there and running into that long run there at the end of the stage. You're one of the best, if not the best car. Just makes it hurt even more, to be honest with you. But glad we had speed at least, and all you can do is keep digging. Go to the next one.
Thanks, Joey. Mike?
So this is the 3rd mile-and-a-half track we've been on this year. At Las Vegas and Kansas, there were no DNFs or did not finish.
Wow.
And already in the garage, Logano, and Bell had on-track inside and Custer that pit road position.
All right, green flag back in the air. We're already up to lap 27 at the end of lap 27 in the middle of stage 2. And lap 107 entirely in today's race. Good restart for Christopher Bell. I don't know why I said Christopher Bell. He was on my mind because they just mentioned he had DNF'd already. Corey Heim taking the race lead into turns 1 and 2. Trying to set sail on Daniel Suarez and Brad Keselowski, who sit just behind him in the running order. Chase Elliott still the first of which that pitted at the end of stage number 1. And then that first caution that took place in this second stage as well, Chase Elliott had hit pit road there, so he'd be the highest in the running order of those that pitted under that first stage caution here in stage 2. Racing his way up to 4th on the restart as well as Chase Elliott. Briscoe with that slight damage after contact on pit road from Larson did not come back onto pit road to make any more repairs to the right front. He is up in the top 10 in 9th. Corey Heim checking out on those just behind him of Suarez and Keselowski. Suarez struggled at the start of the day after qualifying second. He was all the way back to 14th, middle of stage 1, and Brad Keselowski was tail end of the lead lap at the end of the opening stage. So just a desperation move by way of trying to get any track position they can. That's why they stayed out of the pits here from this last restart. Top 5 in the running order off the restart as Corey Heim in the lead, Daniel Suarez second, Brad Keselowski third, Chase Elliott fourth, and Zane Smith in fifth.
Right now, keeping themselves in the race, surviving the chaos, continuing to work on their car, and he'll be relevant. I think it's over. Most likely.
I'll tell you another name we haven't said all day. It's Chase Elliott in this number 9 car. New life, clean air. Got through all these.
Clean air, clean car, and here he is.
See what we mean. Chase just right.
Say straight. Suarez who's running first and second. Chase is using a ton of brake, a lot more than Hyman Suarez getting into 1 and 2, and he's using brake getting into 3, which Suarez and Hyman is not using brake. But yeah, Chase, there's a lot of brake both ends of racetrack. Yeah, and sometimes that's just to set that nose, Clint, to keep the thing, the front tires loaded up. And I don't know that you want to do that too long with the heat and everything, but it's definitely an option as you go here, because a lot of times these cars, you make the speed getting into the corner further, set the front end, and then drive on.
And that can go both ways. If you lose into the corner, you can use brakes to keep the car loaded up with the chassis rather, driveline, and helps it not be so loose in. Ty Gibbs, who just brought out the most recent caution, has just taken his car to the garage. Let's check with Josh on the leader.
I think the start of the season for Corey Heim, some strategy play to get up front, getting some valuable experience in terms of restarting. Got to do two of those. Came over the radio to see, hey guys, let me know where the guys are making speed behind me so I know where I need to run. But pretty cool. Of all the drivers in 2311, Michael Jordan is in his pit box right now during this race, and he called this car the best one he's had in his Cup starts, and he's making the most of it right now up front.
Well, Heim was last year's Truck Series champion. He has 25 wins, the Craftsman Truck Series, 5th all time. This is his 3rd of 12 Cup Series starts that he will make this year. And somebody's going to have to find a place for this young fellow next season.
Well, they better find a spot, or he's going to find a different spot. And I mean, he has the ability to go out there and do it.
Let me tell you something. They put this car in victory lane today. That Michael Jordan,
If I were the driver, I'm coming to get him. If you have other plans, sorry, keep the boat parked. We're going to the racetrack. We need you, buddy.
he is a good luck charm. He shows up, they go to victory lane. Racing's complete in stage 2, which will end at lap 165.
All right, commercial break ongoing on Fox Sports 1. We'll go through the full field running order now as we're about midway through stage 2. Corey Heim is the race leader with Chase Elliott in second, Daniel Suarez third, Brad Keselowski fourth, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Chris Buescher in sixth, Zane Smith seventh, John Hunter Nemechek in eighth, Chase Briscoe ninth, and Riley Herbst is 10th. 11th for Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin 12th, Kyle Busch 13th, Austin Cindric 14th, and Bubba Wallace 15th. 16th is Carson Hocevar with Alex Bowman 17th, Michael McDowell 18th, AJ Allmendinger in 19th, and Shane Van Gisbergen in 20th. Eric Jones in 21st, Ryan Preece 22nd, William Byron 23rd, Josh Berry 24th, 25th, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson in 26th, Ross Chastain 27th, Noah Gragson 28th, Austin Dillon 29th, and Connor Zilic is 30th. 31st for Ty Dillon, Cody Ware 32nd, Todd Gillen 33rd is the last car in the lead lap. Ty Gibbs is 8 laps down in 34th with Joey Logano out of the race in 35th, Cole Custer 36th, Chad Fincham 37th, and Christopher Bell 38th out of 38 cars. 11 lead changes, an hour and 24 minutes into the race, and we are about 15 laps shy of halfway here today. Fast racetrack here at Texas Motor Speedway, but we've seen some problems on pit road as of recent to knock a couple more cars up out of the race, and definitely an interesting one by way of strategy, kind of flipping the field multiple times over the last 40 to 50 laps or so, and kind of creating a part of this race where it's hard to tell what the best strategy is going forward. I'd say of the drivers up towards the front right now, Chase Elliott's probably in the best position in that second spot. Running the fastest lap times on the racetrack as well. 29.762 that last time by was about a tenth faster than the leader, Corey Heim. Chris Buescher, the second in the running order on the same strategy as what Chase Elliott is on right now. And Chase Briscoe will be the third fastest, with Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin kind of fourth and fifth on that Chase Elliott strategy. At least the cars that are, again, running the same strategy as that 9, that are all up inside the top 10. We'll take a quick break here. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race, again, continues on the channel.
Saw this earlier. Thought he checked up off a turn 2, but you see it happening again right now. And we know that that car has some right front damage from that pit stop accident, so it looks okay from turns 3 and 4. Just wonder if it keeps getting tight on the exit of turn 2 right here, Clint.
I think it's got a rust. Like, I think the fenders on the tire don't see any Goodyear lettering on that right front. You see the damage. It's more than you think. Chevy?
Well, the team has since that damage to Travis Klein, and they determined it's okay. They didn't need to bring him in. And the wheel is straight as well. Weber, trying to know what's happening with my team. Said, I have 2 cars over-rotated in many of spots.
Junior's racing at one point in this race, they had 4 cars in the top 5, and now they have 2 in the garage. He's back.
Yeah, let's take a look at the top 5 on what this fuel situation is. Now, Chase Elliott, he pitted at lap 94. He's going to be good to go. So let's talk about Keselowski, Daniel Suarez, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. They all pitted basically at lap 84. So what they're having to do, they've got 15 cautions. They're going to have to run 66 green laps plus those 15 cautions. That's why they're telling him maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 shots. The one I'm concerned about is Corey Heim, because he has not pitted since lap 70. We have had 23 cautions, but he's trying to run 72 green flag laps. That is a stretch where you add in those cautions as well.
Corey Heim and Zane Smith are the 2 cars that were last on memory at lap 70. Would have a long way to go to try to make it to the end of stage 2.
See how wide this racetrack, as we right on board with Allmendinger here on both ends, has just widened out so far. Actually have more more widened out than what you can actually use in this car from a truck rally race.
So finally calming things down, seeing some green flag runs, and now you see the 11 marching back up to the front like we saw at the beginning of the race, up 11 positions, Denny Hamlin. Byron, nice recovery from his spin back at lap 93.
And
on the biggest movers.
I don't think there's anybody that can beat Denny Hamlin if he gets back to the front. I think Christopher Bell and Ty Gibbs were about the only two cars that can probably hang with Denny Hamlin. But right now, he's in a league of his own as far as lap time goes for the most part. But that's most every lap.
That's exactly what we couldn't know about this track in Texas, though. I mean, it throws things for a loop, and when them cautions start coming out, here you're mired in traffic, we're getting squeezed, we're frustrated on the radio. That's how you beat it, Denny Hamlin. The drivers at that point, and Carson Hosvar led 4 times for 35 laps, back in 15, and Busch in 13th after running the first this race in the top 5. Hamlin Stenhouse for 6th place. And just ahead of Suarez and Busch for 4th. Much like we saw in that first run, Suarez is having trouble on the long run again, but that's sequence of all those stops and all that stuff getting crazy put him right back into the play. Got stage points, and now we're back up front, clean air.
And Suarez went to the back so fast in the first run, I thought he would never even be close to getting back into this race, but there he sits 4th. You just never know the twists and turns of what's going to happen today.
As he battles Chris Buescher. Todd Gilliland, who brought out the first caution in lap 69 and won the Christopher Bell out of the race, is a lap down and has been posted by NASCAR to pick up the pace that he is not meeting the minimum speed, and he's coming to pit road. 32 cars on the lead lap, 23 to go in stage 2. Teammates Keselowski and Buescher for RFK running in their Mustangs behind the Himes Toyota and Chase Elliott's Camaro.
Green flag run here in the back half of stage number 2. 32 laps to go that last time by at the line. Corey Himes still the race leader by about 1.4 seconds over Chase Elliott. 4.6 seconds to Brad Keselowski in 3rd. Chris Buescher 5.6 seconds out of the lead in 4th. And Daniel Suarez just dropping back to 5th is 5.9 seconds back. Denny Hamlin 6 seconds out of the lead in the 6th place position. 6.7 back for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 7th. Tyler Reddick 8.8 back in 8th. Jonathan Nemechek 9.4 seconds out of the lead in 9th. And Riley Herbst rounds out the top 10 at 9.7 seconds off the race leader. Denny Hamlin just made a pass for 5th while I was going through that top 10 as he got by Daniel Suarez. Hamlin up 12 positions since the restart. Most positions gained of any driver since the restart outside of William Byron, who's up 13 spots, but he's back in 18th after he had a spin a little earlier on, restarted 31st. So again, 18th for Byron. He was running just inside the top 10 at the time of his spin. All the yellows coming out, quite a few drivers taking the wave around between the end of stage 1 just shortly thereafter. We actually have 32 cars on the lead lap. And of everybody that is on the lead lap right now, or I should say on the racetrack, of those that are a lap down, we got Gilliland, Gibbs, Fincham, but they are all off the pace with damage. And actually, I do think Gibbs is in the garage area, so it's only Fincham and Gilliland. And Gilliland just came to pit road after being posted by NASCAR for running too slow and not meeting the minimum speed requirement. So black flag given to the 34 team. At well over 100 concurrent viewers watching throughout the course of today's live commentary stream. Our like goal is to get to 100 likes today, and we are at 87 right now, so be sure to hit the like button. Please and thank you. Helps these streams out a ton on the channel. You can vote for who you think is going to win today's race. Our chat poll closes at the end of stage 2 during these live commentary streams for the races. And for the Wurth 400 win, we got 52% of you saying somebody other than Hamlin, Reddick, or Hocevar will still get the race win here today. 25% taking Carson Hocevar, 15% for Hamlin, only 8% for Tyler Reddick. All those guys have been up near the front. Hamlin's led some laps. Carson Hocevar's led a couple of different times today. And right now, Hocevar in 15th. Tyler Reddick is up in 8th, and Denny Hamlin in 5th, with Corey Heim, again, the race leader. But it sounds like Corey Heim's going to have to pit before the end of stage 1 as he's not going to make it on fuel, so Chase Elliott could be the leader, and he's got about a 5-second advantage over third place Brad Keselowski.
20 seconds. Slow down a little. Save me some. He has 1.7-second lead.
And I hear the other teams talk about where they are as far as being able to make it. It doesn't sound like they think that they can. So we'll find out.
Buscher and Hamlin, 4th and 5th.
Yeah, and I still think that 11 car, Denny Hamlin, is fast, and I think Corey Heim actually has the speed to be able to compete with him. Chase Elliott. Those look to be the best 3 cars as far as speed goes on the racetrack currently.
Brad Keselowski's doing a great job of playing strategy to put himself in a great position. They ran long on the first green flag stretch. Things out so that now he is 3rd, and his teammate Chris Buscher is 5th, and Daniel Suarez has had a nice rebound.
And not only does it sound like Brad Keselowski this year, what we've seen with the RFK cars in general, Ken, and they've just done a good job of not making mistakes, getting the most out of every weekend, and that's exactly what we see on display with the 6 car. Yeah, and we talk about Brad on a weekly basis of being able to, he could just qualify better and he'd be able to do this throughout the whole race, but usually qualifying puts him in a hole.
Let's go to Regan on the 2nd place car.
Things going very well for Chase Elliott right now in that 9 car. It's something to keep in mind. He's been talking to his team throughout the day about the fact that when he pushes the pace, he feels like he can heat the right rear up, but when he can do what he wants to do and manage that right rear, it's pretty good. The only complaints he has had is when he does have to push that pace a little bit. But right now, where he's riding in 2nd place, the ability to manage that right rear, he's been very pleased with the 9 car and doing something right now that Dale Justice told me is very important to them. Find a way to get stage points today.
He's got a good gap, 5 seconds ahead of Brad Keselowski, and he's lapping about 0.3 seconds slower than Heim or Keselowski right now. Jamie?
Keselowski's been doing a great job saving his third. Jeremy Mullins in a radio and said, all right, we're looking to do good on fuel. Want to run it a little bit harder. Go for it. But the fastest now. Next time by.
Larry, how about earlier?
Yeah, I've been studying some more numbers, Mike, and I just want to clarify. Pitted on lap 70. That means he's got to run 72 green flag laps, which is doable, but that does not include the 23 cautions that were in there as well. Sam was asking me during commercial break, the only thing I am seeing, he's starting to pick the throttle up a little later, just a little later, maybe trying to save more fuel, but guys, that's a lot of fuel to save right there.
Sure is. Now, Zane Smith also stopped at lap 70 and we're told that he will pit about 5 laps from now. Smith thinks. 19 laps to go in stage 2. Corey Heim out in front of Chase Elliott by almost 4 seconds.
Right. And Heim's actually growing his lead out over Chase Elliott and running faster lap times than that of the driver of the number 9, despite the fact that he's in a much more vulnerable position by way of the fuel economy. So I wonder if that means he's just trying to run hard knowing he's going to pit before the end of the stage, perhaps at this point. Could be, could be. He's got a 3.6 second advantage over Elliott, 7.9 seconds over Denny Hamlin in 3rd, Brad Keselowski 8.6 back in 4th, and 9.6 seconds out of the lead in 5th is Chris Buscher. Hamlin's still the biggest gainer since the last restart. He's up 14 positions to third place. 15 spots for Byron to 16th as well. Austin Dillon up 8 spots to 24th. Cody Ware just went a lap down in 32nd, so he's the first car off the lead lap. Chase Briscoe still struggling with his race car after some damage sustained on pit road between he and Kyle Larson. He's in 30th. Larson not doing that great either, back at 21st. So they'll be coming up on about 15 laps to go in the stage this time by. Briscoe's about to go a lap down. He's right in front of our race leader, Corey Heim, at the moment. Heim is still about a 10th faster lap than Elliott, and actually Denny Hamlin's been the fastest car on the racetrack the last several laps. Problem is he's about 4 seconds behind Elliott. Heim to the inside of Briscoe through turns 1 and 2. Problem is if Heim has to pit before the end of the stage, he's going to finish stage number 1 a lap down. Even if he went splash and go, I just don't see him cycling back out in front of Chase Elliott with the lap times right around 30 seconds flat for the leaders. Pace is backed up way more that time. Corey Heim 9/10 of a second slower than Elliott the last lap by. For making a pass on Briscoe. Briscoe about to fall out of the free pass position from Cody Ware in 31st as well. Michael McDowell in the 71 also has gone a lap down recently. Hey, Corey Heim coming onto pit road. Green flag stop. That's a tough break for the 67. Did not play the strategy game out very well. Didn't get aided with a caution either. Yeah, it's a tough break for Corey Heim. The driver, that is. The team obviously went with the strategy of trying to stretch this out. I think they were basically just hoping we were going to catch more cautions so they could save more gas than they did. Because pitting with 12 laps to go in stage 2, they were well short. So Chase Elliott will now be the new leader. First time that Chase Elliott's been able to lead a lap today. Set his fastest lap of the race in stage 2 at lap 110 with a 29.203. He's got a 3.1 second advantage over Denny Hamlin in second. Brett Keselowski now in third, Chris Buescher fourth, and Daniel Suarez back up to fifth again.
Different strategies there. As you go down the straightaway, you probably back off the throttle to, 5/8, 3/4 throttle, and as you go through the corner, just try to lift earlier and let it roll further. When you go back to the throttle, try to go back to the throttle a little bit slower. But really, you want to go back to the throttle in the corner, and when you get to the exit of the corner, lift down the straightaways. You tend to lose less time that way.
At the end of the day, you want to keep backing it up until they tell you. You let them just kind of walk you to the water. Here, tell me how much. All right, that was good enough. There you go. Now do that again. Replicate that.
9 laps to go, stage 2 this time by at the line for Chase Elliott. Hamlin's still the fastest car on the track, has trimmed the lead down about 4/10 of a second just since Elliott got to the lead a few laps ago, about 3 laps ago, over Corey Heim, who pitted. Heim's a lap down, and he's off of the free pass position for both Briscoe and McDowell. He's got 4 fresh tires, so he's going to blow past Denny Hamlin here, who's in the second place position. And now he's hoping he can run down the race leader, Chase Elliott, and unlap himself before the end of the stage. If he does that, I think there's a chance Corey Heim stays out of the pits at the end of the next stage, and he could be the leader. He's got a fast pace right now. That last lap by Elliott was a 30.447. And for Corey Heim, He just ran a 30.077, so about 0.4 of a second a lap faster his time on those fresh tires. And Hamlin roughly 3 seconds out of the lead after just making the pass. Right there, mathematically, he's going to have enough time to catch Elliott. He's going to get by Briscoe, and I believe that's a pass for the free pass position, so at the very least he can get back on the lead lap. But obviously he's going to want to unlap himself so he doesn't have to restart the tail end of the longest line on the restart. That would defeat the purpose of this strategy. So for this to really work out, Heim's going to have to unlap himself in the next 6 laps. Oh, Kyle Larson has just spun out of turn 2. Well, that's a tough break for Corey Heim because now he's going to have to get the free pass with the caution that comes before the end of stage 2 as Larson has crashed.
Set up a radio to we saw Bubba Wallace do this yesterday in practice, and you could hear the disappointment in Kyle Larson's voice right there on the radio that he just lost the back end of the car. But it happens fast over there. When that back snaps around, you have no chance in saving it.
6 laps to go, 5 now in stage 2. And Corey Heim gets the free pass. As Larson tries to limp his way back to pit road.
Yeah, and it looks like that car won't steer, so he's just bouncing it off the wall.
So we're going to watch this from AJ Allmendinger's onboard camera.
I can see Kyle's all by himself. I'm right in the middle of the racetrack. A lot like them. So identicals. Yep. Just came out from underneath of him. He's been struggling to hang on to that all day.
And we've heard him. We've heard him talk about his, the front of his car not turning, and that's the hardest thing to fix here. Because the back of the car is already on edge with all the bumps and high speed and, just the way that this racetrack is. So when you're trying to fix that front end turn, a lot of times you make the front end turn better and give up grip in the back.
A reminder of how tricky it is to nail the balance of these race cars, too. Here comes your leaders.
Tracer Lynn and Denny Hamlin lead them down pit road along with Busher, Suarez, Stenhouse, and most lead lap cars green.
Like you see the 9-car Chase Elliott right there. No complaints from the driver. He was just unleashed about 2 laps ago and told, don't save us any problem. The 11 and Denny Hamlin said it's pretty good right now. Josh?
Some of us are happy that the car during that run slightly free, but good and green airs and 4 tires. 17.
See 4 laps to go right here in this stage, so these guys are going to.
Well, RFA, why don't we just call them the contrary team? Because Brad Keselowski and Ryan Preece stayed out trying to get some stage points. 4 laps to go on the stage.
They're probably only going to have to hang on for a lap or 2 by the time we get going green.
It's definitely different. This thing does go back green. You're going to get swarmed by all these new tires. You saw how fast Corey Heim went by all those cars that had old tires. That's what will happen right here.
Well, the answer to this question is not Joey Logano. Maybe Kyle Larson. But between them, they've won 4 of the last 5 titles. But since their last victories, 14 different drivers have been to victory lane. First-time winners. First with 5 wins. And that drop for Logano continues as he is in the garage area after a crash on pit road back in lap 95.
And here's Ryan Blaney blocked in. We talked about this earlier. This is a product of bad qualifying. Eric Jones with in his box, he had to back up to get out of it.
Rough day for Blaney.
Give Blaney much room. Now 3 drivers wave around to get back on the lead lap. Chase Briscoe, Michael McDowell, and Cody Ware. And we'll restart with 30 cars on the lead lap.
And in this pit stop situation with Blaney, I mean, for Eric Jones, when Ryan Blaney's car is sitting there, they're already changing the tires, so you got to go around the tire changers, and you try to get as far into your box as you can. But
It's going to be a 1-lap dash at the end of stage 2. 1 lap. Green, white checker.
Brad Keselowski, it was basically him that made the call to stay out. He said, I'd rather stay out and go for these stage points. So they did. And he was asking where he was in comparison to everyone else. They said, you're leading. Let's go out and make the most of it. The 3rd stage win of the season.
And his teammate Ryan Preece will share the front row. Preece was 16th when the caution came out, and now he's in 2nd place and in position to be one of the 10 cars that will get stage points after just 1 lap. Hold on, hold your breath.
I'm holding my breath because they are going to be in the way.
I was going to say, they're the ones holding their breath. You want me to do what?
Elliott and Hamlin behind them, and then Tyler Reddick up there into the top 5 for, I believe, the first time today.
God, I hated these situations, Clint, when they would leave me out on old tires like this. I'm like, all right, go get us some points, guys.
Puts a lot of pressure on you.
Swisher will restart from the 3rd row. That puts 3 RFK cars right up toward them.
All right, 1 lap green, white checker for stage 2, and it's the RFK Fords of Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece leading us to the green flag. Back underway, they're on old tires, staying out completely. Keselowski to the lead, Preece down in line behind him, and really Row 2 did not fire off well at all on that restart. Preece goes way up the racetrack for Chase Elliott to get to the inside, and Elliott's going to have a shot to win this stage as he's now underneath Keselowski for the lead down the back straightaway. Tyler Reddick in the 45 all the way to the bottom, but gets blocked off by Elliott. Elliott will bypass Keselowski, and off turn 4, it's Chase Elliott who will win stage 2 at Texas. Tyler Reddick 2nd by a nose, Brad Keselowski 3rd, Denny Hamlin 4th, 5th for Ryan Preece. So the RFK boys going to get top 5 stage points. Keselowski 3rd and Preece 5th. The strategy call for what they were going for at least, and now they're going to be at the tail end of the lead lap, so we'll see how they recover. Daniel Suarez 6th in the stage, Chris Buescher in 7th, Riley Herbst 8th, Carson Hocevar 9th, and Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. So your stage winners today, stage 1 was won by Eric Jones on pit strategy. Chase Elliott wins stage number 2. He was running 2nd before that last caution came out. Actually, no, he had just taken the lead away from Heim a couple laps before the yellow because Heim had to pit under green. Corey Heim got the free pass during that caution. And then with the yellow that just ended up happening, Zane Smith is going to get the free pass in 31st now. Cody Ware, Chase Briscoe took the wave around during the late stage 2 caution. Again, Zane Smith free pass during the stage 2 yellow. 6th caution of the day, our 2nd stage break. We've had 4 for incident, 3 of which in stage 2 and 1 late in stage 1, as we have 102 laps in the final stage today. 28 laps under caution out of 166 complete. 15 lead changes again, 6 yellows. 1 hour, 53 minutes total in the race thus far. This is the 2nd time that Chase Elliott has been able to lead today. He has led for 11 laps so far. 4 for Keselowski, 19 for Denny Hamlin, 35 for pole sitter Carson Hocevar, 13 for Eric Jones. Most laps led today, actually, Corey Heim with 57 laps led. He's in 25th. Strategy did not work out well, though, for Heim, I will say. 4 laps led for Chase Briscoe back at 29th place. And we saw some laps led by Bell because he had actually gotten in a crash from the lead. 22 laps led for Christopher back at stage 1. 1 lap for Ty Gibbs on a restart also. Decent amount of drivers have led at least once today of those 15 lead changes. End of stage 2. No diecast showing this week. I don't have any diecast with me again at the moment. As far as the chat poll goes, 126 of you have voted for who you think is going to win the Wurth 400 at Texas. Denny Hamlin at 17% of the votes was my pick to win. 7% of you taking Tyler Reddick, and 25% for Hocevar. Other at 51% of those 126 votes will end up winning the chat poll, as that is now closed off. Fantasy League all locks up at the end of stage 2. Logano out of the race for me, so I had to take him out. And leave the other of the starting roster in, which was Brad Keselowski. Get some stage points. William Byron, Carson Hocevar, stage points at both stages. Chase Elliott with the stage win. And Austin Cindric. It was my team from last week, by the way, because I did not put the lineup in before the start of the stream and or race today, so I apologize for that. My first mishap of the league this year. I'll be better next week at Watkins Glen and so on and so forth. So right around 100 laps to go in this 267-lap race at Texas Motor Speedway. And again, Chase Elliott leads, former Texas winner of 2 years ago in the spring in 2024. Couple cars to pit road for RFK, Priest and Keselowski. Yeah, if we look at the point standings coming in, Brad Keselowski was 10th in points, and Ryan Preece inside the chase cut line was in 13th. So again, 10th and 13th in points coming in. Wanted to get as many of those stage points as possible. Chase Briscoe not having a good day today after problems on pit road with Kyle Larson. His car has not been the same since, was lapped down at one point. Now tail end of the lead lap at the end of stage 2. He's the first driver outside the chase cut line behind Austin Cindric. Joey Logano, who's around that chase bubble, and 15th, a DNF here today. And therefore he could be in danger of falling out of the top 16 also. We'll take a quick break here. You're listening live on KRC. We got over 150 concurrent viewers watching today's Wurth 400 at Texas right here on the channel. Thank you to each and every one of you tuning in for yet another race weekend here at Texas. We'll be live Watkins Glen next week, Friday through Sunday, between Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series action for the second consecutive week. Our second road course of the season for Cup. And second of the year, I guess, technically, for Trucks. They were just on St. Pete, not Coda, back in the first road course race weekend of the year. But all 3 series in action next weekend. We will have our 4 live commentary streams between truck racing, cup practice, and qualifying, and the race, of course, on Sunday. Shaping up, so the top dozen on this next restart with Preece and Keselowski pitting from inside the top 10. Chase Elliott will be the leader. Tyler Reddick up to second. Denny Hamlin third. Daniel Suarez fourth. And Chris Buescher in fifth. Riley Herbst is in sixth place with a solid day today for him. Carson Hocevar seventh. Alex Bowman eighth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ninth. William Byron will be 10th with Kyle Busch 11th and John Hunter Nemechek in 12th. So again, final stage set to begin. Easy Network, thanks for tuning in. Reddick is just going to run away with the regular season title. Maybe. There's a long season to go yet. He's done a great job keeping pace outside of the super speedways, of course, at the start of the year. Finding ways to get good, consistent finishes, and obviously second place stage points here today at Texas in stage 2, going to help him along the way as well. Denny Hamlin second in points, though, and I think he scored more stage points than Reddick today. And if Hamlin could say win the race, that's a 25-point swing between he and Reddick. I mean, it's going to eat into that. I'm not counting Denny Hamlin out of it by any means. Just over the 2-hour mark in today's race. Now strategy is back to normal. I think it'd be more straightforward from here. Yeah, pretty good chance of that. Things were getting weird there from the end of stage 1 to the early to middle portion of stage 2, but it's kind of funny that things have kind of worked itself out. Now we got a straightforward final stage upcoming. It just depends on when we catch cautions, though, because, I mean, if we catch one right at the edge of the fuel window to make it to the end of the race, we could see some more pit strategy take place. Or a late caution where we may see some drivers take 2 tires versus 4, and that could be a difference as well. Have to play it straight up from the start because there's no more guaranteed cautions with stage yellows anymore. Any cautions going forward are going to be natural yellows. Top 3 have all won at least one race this season. We haven't seen that many different winners so far this year. Only 6 of them through 10 races because of Tyler Reddick having the 5. Nobody else has won more than one race. Those other winners include Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, and Carson Hocevar. All right, stage 3 underway. Here they come, green flag in the air. Pretty good restart for Tyler Reddick on the outside of row 1. We'll see how he hangs on through turns 1 and 2 to that of Elliott to his inside. Reddick has been just a fantastic restarter this year. We've seen him up in contention, late race situations on numerous occasions off of restarts alone. After getting himself into some pretty good spots. Here he is trying to take his first lead of the race today, and he is not going to quite be able to do so as he is not able to hold strong on the outside through 3 and 4 like he did building speed through 1 and 2. So Chase Elliott holds on to the lead. Tyler Reddick has won all but one race. Of the 6 races he has led in this season, the only one he did not was last week at Talladega, where he led a couple laps after starting on the pole. He has not yet led today. Second place is as high in the running order as he has been, and he was right there side by side with Elliott for a little over a half a lap, but wasn't able to hold on any longer than that from the restart. This time by at the line, 92 laps to go. Chase Elliott is the race leader. Tyler Reddick second. Denny Hamlin third. Daniel Suarez fourth. Chris Buescher in fifth. And sixth is Riley Herbst. Carson Hocevar seventh. Alex Bowman eighth. William Byron ninth. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounds out the top 10. I'm curious to see how Daniel Suarez does, because he has faded on long runs all day long. Kind of got bailed out with a lot of other drivers on his strategy back at stage 2. Still lost a couple positions. Now he's in 4th. When we got 10-plus laps into the opening frame of the race, he fell out of the top 10 in a hurry. His teammate Carson Hocevar also back in the top 10 and 8th after scoring stage points at the end of stage 1 and stage 2 today. Riley Herbst and Alex Bowman in a battle for 6th place on the racetrack right now. Herbst had that spot initially. Bowman trying to take it away. Bowman's been quietly inside the top 10 all day today. Herbst, a part of the strategy game, has kind of snuck his way up there, but Bowman from the start has had a pretty solid day all around. He's been in that like 7th to 10th place range all afternoon. He started 9th and currently just made a pass for 6th, which is as high as he's been in the running order so far. Yeah, Kyle Busch is upset with the radio. I'm going to rewind this just a little bit ago so you can hear all of the input. He is not happy on the radio. Yeah, Busch back in 12th place. Remember, he was 4th at the end of stage 1 and ran top 5 all of the first stage of the race. Then kind of strategy got out of control in stage 2, and they lost a little bit of track position on a couple restarts, and now he is a little bit outside of that top 10. Top 10 last week at Talladega, kind of a breath of fresh air for Kyle Busch fans, as we haven't seen that much this season. And obviously coming into the day outside the top 25 in points. Got some stage points along the way. If he can get a decent finish, he might be able to pick up a few more spots. Good restart for Ross Chastain getting up into 10th. Good recovery for that one car as well, because they were struggling outside the top 20 back at stage 1 at the start of this thing. Another poor qualifying effort to boot. Team Trackhouse has not been good this season on most of the tracks we've gone to. And as for Ross Chastain, who has had a bread and butter at these mile-and-a-half tracks with the next-gen car, he's won a couple of these races, just unable to really perform here. His last 2 wins, in fact, a mile-and-a-half, so the Coke 600 last season and then at Kansas in the fall the year before that. He's a 2-time runner-up at Texas in the next-gen era. 2 of the last 3 races he's finished 2nd. Chase Elliott, by the way, has the new fastest lap of the race. If you're wondering who is going to get that bonus point, as of right now, it is Elliott, and that was at lap 176, roughly 6 laps ago. He put down a 28.89. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is the first second. It's a second sub 29-second lap of the race. The first 28.8 we've seen. He's fast. Tyler Reddick is pretty quick as well, and he's hanging in there within a half a second of our race leader right now. Denny Hamlin 3rd, Daniel Suarez in 4th, and Chris Busch are currently in 5th. 84 laps to go at Texas. Everybody will have to pit at least one more time before the end of the race for fuel purposes. If we don't get any cautions, it's going to likely be around the halfway mark in this stage, which is going to be roughly 50 laps to go. May see some drivers pit on the short side of that run like we did back at stage 1. We saw Christopher Bell be the first car to pit road back at stage 1, and he pitted roughly 34 laps in. Elliott's still the fastest car on the track, though, that last lap, 29.571. A couple hundredths off of that was Reddick. Denny Hamlin closer to Elliott than Reddick that last time by. Hamlin almost 2 seconds out of the lead. Corey Heim, who's led the most laps so far today, trying to come from the back of the pack after getting stuck a lap down on his pit strategy back in stage 2. It allowed him to lead all those laps. He's currently 24th. Just made a pass on Brad Keselowski in traffic. Ryan Blaney up 8 positions since the restart. Haven't really heard anything of him in a positive note today. Couple of blips on pit road yet again, but not as much on the pit crew this weekend after changes were made a couple weeks ago, and they've been having a good or better run at it on pit road, but between not having a lot of speed at Kansas, an early crash last week at Talladega, and now this week started 31st, made his way up to 13th at stage 1. Before that late stage caution with Christopher Bell and Todd Gilliland on pit road, he ended up stalling the engine out a couple times, leaving his pit box. Costed him 11 positions in the pit lane because of that alone. And then also had a situation where he had to back up in the box at stage 2 and lost quite a few spots because of Eric Jones being kind of pinned in a weird direction in his box where Blaney had nothing to do but to back up to get going forward out of the box eventually. So a couple of mishaps there, but again, it was not on the crew specifically this time around. But nonetheless, pit road woes continue, and that 12 car is only back up to 17th. I don't think he's ran a single lap in the top 10 yet today. That's even during green flag pit stops, too. I haven't even noticed it. We're up to 100 likes on the stream. Our like goal is to get to 100, so thank you so much for smashing the like button, everyone. We got 79 laps to go at Texas. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of the race. Billy Kramer, welcome back into the stream. Toyota definitely has the best car this year. Yeah, bar none. I mean, it's not even close. They had talked about yesterday how Hendrick Motorsports and the Chevys could have a little bit more of an advantage on this Texas mile and a half versus other mile and a halves because you tend to lose the nose of the race car on this slippery, treacherous Texas Motor Speedway in the longer runs, and because of having more downforce on the nose with these new Chevrolet bodies. Top end speed's a little bit slower, but a track like Texas, the handling is going to be huge, and we're seeing that pay off pretty well with Elliott. Byron was fastest in practice yesterday also, and Alex Bowman has ran in the top 10 all day today. Larson had his struggles, but he also did have contact on pit road early with Chase Briscoe that could have factored into some of those handling issues that he was sustaining earlier. Tyler Reddick has ran down Chase Elliott during the course of this run. He's now within just a couple tenths of a second of the leader. Daniel Suarez just lost 4th place during the commercial break to Chris Buescher. Chastain and Busch up into the top 10, getting by William Byron and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in recent laps as they try to trend forward again. Really the first time for Chastain, and the first time in a while Busch has been back up in the top 10. See, now Tyler Reddick's getting close enough to the 9 where the lap times aren't as quick consistently for the 45 now that he's dealing with a little bit of dirty air problems. Chase Elliott up the racetrack through 3 and 4. Clean air to the bottom on the white line for Reddick. Tyler Reddick trying to get his 6th win of the season. Very much in contention for it late. I've noticed a lot of NASCAR fans are tired of seeing Toyota and or Tyler Reddick win races, but anytime he's in contention consistently, I'm like, how many races can he win this season? I want to see history. As a history buff of the sport, I'm glad that we are living in it. And getting to see Tyler Reddick perform at an all-time high this season the way he has. Another valiant effort again this weekend. Not only the 5 wins, 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s. Again, only 201 laps led this season, which as I'm scrolling down the list here is actually the 5th most laps led this year. Drivers who have more laps led than Reddick, despite Reddick having 5 wins to everybody else's 0 or 1. Hamlin's got 603, 499 for Larson. Christopher Bell's led for 303. Ryan Blaney for 244. All more than what Tyler Reddick has been able to lead this season. And if you count today's race with the laps that Chase Elliott has led, he is fastly approaching Reddick, since Reddick has not been able to lead yet today. Brandon Hall, 11:57. Thanks for tuning in. Always has crazy final stage speed. I think he's just clutch. His restarts compared to anybody else that I've seen this season, far and away better. We're not able to see many cars pass rows and rows of cars on restarts like Reddick has been able to do. Oddly enough, I've actually seen Carson Hocevar do it a couple times this weekend at Texas, but over the entire year, I mean, Reddick has far and away been the best restarter. And because of having late race cautions in certain situations where he has won on a couple of those races this year, that has obviously helped him. That's why going in and leading a bunch of laps doesn't really do a lot for him, because if he's up inside the top 3, top 4, and he gets a late race restart with a couple laps to go, he's got just as much of a chance to win as a guy who's led 200-plus laps in a race on the front row, especially if they're all up on equal tires. All right, fuel window is going to open at about 10 laps or less, so we'll see if anybody's going to pit on the short side of that. We'll go through the full field running order pre-green flag stops, and then we'll do that after everybody cycles through as well, so you can see where everybody will shuffle. Chase Elliott leads right now. Tyler Reddick in second. Denny Hamlin third. Chris Buescher fourth. Daniel Suarez is fifth. Alex Bowman sixth. Riley Herbst seventh. Carson Hocevar eighth. Ross Chastain ninth. And Kyle Busch in 10th. 11th is William Byron. Bubba Wallace in 12th. 13th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. John Hunter Nemechek 14th. Austin Cindric 15th. Shane Van Gisbergen 16th, Ryan Blaney 17th, Connor Zilic 18th, Austin Dillon 19th, and 20th is Ryan Preece. 21st for Corey Heim, Brad Keselowski 22nd, Noah Gragson 23rd, Eric Jones 24th, and 25th is A.J. Allmendinger. Josh Berry 26th, Chase Briscoe 27th, Ty Dillon 28th, St. Smith 29th, and 30th is Michael McDowell. Last car in the lead lap, Cody Ware 31st, with Todd Gilliland on track 8 laps down in 32nd. Chad Fincham on track 40 laps down in 33rd. And 5 cars out of the race today, Kyle Larson, 34th, 35th for Ty Gibbs, Cole Custer, 36th, Joey Logano, 37th, and Christopher Bell, 38th. So that is what we are looking at there. Most spots gained from the restart. Ross Chastain up 6 positions to 9th place, up 8 spots for Blaney to 17th, but he hasn't moved up any more spots since the commercial before the one that they're on right now, roughly 15 laps ago. Ryan Preece also up 6 positions after pitting during the stage break. Stayed out to get some stage points, ended up with 6 of them in a 5th place stage 2 finish. So as the commercial is ongoing on Fox Sports 1, we'll take another break. You're listening live, KRC, 65 laps to go in the Wurth 400 at Texas. Chase fan happy to see he has had some raw speed. Not raw speed most of the year, even if he doesn't win, which I don't think. I mean, he's had some speed here and there. I mean, in my personal opinion, he's been the best Hendrick car this season. I think Hendrick as a whole just hasn't had a lot of speed. Dad, thanks for tuning in as well. Yeah, I mean, Chase, he could win it again. He could. He's starting to pull Reddick a little bit on this longer run. If Reddick could stay within about a second to second and a half, and we get into green flag pit stops and he beats Elliott to pit road by just 1 lap, that could give him the potential opportunity to leapfrog him. And because the passing is so hard here at Texas, that could be the opportunity we could see that 45 car get in front of the 9. And that'd probably be the easiest way to do so. He was closing in on him on the medium side of the run. Elliott was good on the fire-off. Reddick in the middle was good. And now as the run continues longer and longer, Elliott's getting better. Chase hasn't really hit heavy lap traffic yet either. And if he does do that, if we get a long enough run in stage 3, we'll see if Reddick catches another wind again. Last guy in the lead lap, Cody Ware, is about 27 seconds off the lead. The leaders are running 29.5-second lap time, so we're not far away from lap traffic. I'll be back. I'm going to get a water.
Ross Chastain, he's kind of in that same category that Kyle Busch was. They needed something good to happen as the weekend went on. So solid run, 8th place right now for Ross and that number 1 community.
Michael McDowell on pit road among the late lap cars. And he's not the only one. You can add Suarez right there to that list, Bowman, Herbst.
And this is, at the beginning of this race, it didn't really start off thinking, man, this is going to be like a normal Texas race. And then the grenade went off and blew everything up. And, this car right here, Chase Elliott has been fast, as you see. Kyle Busch, I think going past
Bassett cars, huh? 9th place.
And you see Carson right there, very aware of that car inside of it. And that thing got loose. You saw him go up the racetrack.
Avoided.
Good awareness from Carson inside that car.
That'll bring William Byron, the 11th place car, right to him. That right there is a great picture of what an aerotight situation is. He drove to the bumper of that car and picked up a massive wedge, had to move down on the gas. Just dumps all the downforce, all the air out of your race car.
And what happens right there when it goes through those choppy bumps on the other end of the racetrack in 3 and 3, here we go. But you'll hit those bumps and that car will take off, as we're going to watch William Byron get on the pit road right here.
Lane car. Here. Red, green, Byron pits from 11th place. That's Ross Chastain is also in. Two of the top cars begin the pit stop signal here.
And that'll put the pressure on them, just like we saw earlier in the race with Bell. Believe it or not, we were talking about Bell then, right? He pitted first, ended up being in the situation. Yeah, and then we kind of saw it. Most cars follow suit, and then we saw some cars run it long and put themselves in a spot to pass cars easier at the end of the run.
And Busch and Bowman on pit road, along with Austin Dillon. Jones scheduled green flag stops, so they hope will take them all the way to the checker. Ross Chastain, too fast entering.
And that's the type of stuff when you get down to the end of these races that you just can't afford to do.
You can't overcome it.
You have no time to overcome that.
And Chastain was 8th when he entered pit road. Connor Zillin.
Tough break for Ross. Having a good day, came in about 20th in points, and now a speeding penalty with just 54 to go.
Black, getting up there to get you that bump right there in turns 3 and 4. So when the tires get enough air, and it keeps it from hitting the and the ground, and keeps that car is much more stable through all the bumps.
St. Smith in and out, Shane Van Gisbergen in his pit, and Chastain did the penalty drive down pit road. Comes Chris Buescher, what he hopes will be his final stop. Josh?
Restart David's been to management. Never a top finish his hometown track. Trying to get first here fans before tires and fuel for first.
And the leader is in. Chase Elliott bringing the title Reddick in with him.
This is when the pressure is on those pit crews.
Halfway down the back stretch, Alphonse at pit this time if you can. Chase telling that the car is the best it's been all day this run. He's been able to manage that right rear very nicely. Josh? Reddick in that 45, using all of his spin on entry, that he can be just a tick tighter. It'll be 4 tires if you for the 45.
All right, Denny Hamlin gives up the lead to come to pit road. Noah Grigson is there. So is John Hunter Nemechek and Josh Berry. As green flag stops continue, Regan
The report for driver Denny Hamlin and crew chief Chris Gale. This ran just a little bit too much on the tight side. Lots of little bit of help with that.
So that will leave 8 cars in the lead lap who have not yet made this green flag stop, as you see on the pylon.
There you see Riley Herbst right there with a little bit slow coming to pit road. Not quite as aggressive. Coming around that corner.
Herbst gives up second place to Jamie.
Kevin Hayes just won and do not skate during these track stops. Now it's just second started at Texas. He hasn't said a whole lot. Pretty happy in that race car. Air pressure adjustment, way up the field. Stop by the guy.
Jamie, I like what you said right there. That rookie driver, be patient, be under control. Do not get too much and get caught speeding coming onto this pit road and beat ourselves, take yourself out of this good run that we've got going.
Bubba Wallace in and out. AJ Allmendinger in the pit lane. So now 5 cars have not yet made this stop. Hocevar, Blaney, Heim, Keselowski, and Briscoe.
And that's exactly the strategy that we saw earlier.
Yep, hoping for a caution.
And have your advantage. You can get by the cars that you need to pass later in the run. Some tires. And you see Ross Chastain right there. That pit road penalty put him all the way from a top 10 running position all the way back to 30th.
2 laps down.
Hand out the window for Hocevar. He's coming to pit road this time. Going to give up that lead.
Maybe.
He waved. Kept going.
Something changed their minds there.
Hocevar did this same exact strategy earlier in the race where they ran 7, 8, 9 laps longer than what the original group of cars that came to pit road.
Keselowski also did that early in the race, but he is on pit road now.
Yeah, that strategy of them staying out at the end of the second stage, they got some points, but they're going to give all that back up with the finishing position. He didn't go very far when they dropped the green flag for stage 3.
Yeah, that was all early in the race. This is the end of the race. Even if they catch a caution, most of these guys who just made green flag stops, they're going to stay out.
So Hocevar lapping at 30-20. That is almost a second slower than Denny Hamlin splitting their per cars. He's at them.
Blaney's going to stay one more, at least. And right now there's 13 cars on the lead lap, so it would be detrimental to those guys if the caution came out right now, which is kind of what they're hoping for. Sometimes you get yourself where Blaney has run 13th, 14th, 15th, and all the trouble that you have.
But I think that's exactly why they're doing this strategy with only 13 cars in the lead lap. It is a little bit different scenario than it was earlier in the race.
So that will leave Ryan Blaney, Corey Heim, and Chase Briscoe. Fuel-wise, they can go another 15 or 20 laps.
And we've seen chaos happen at the end of this race. Looks like he's got his hand out the window, and he's just going to let him to the inside.
Yeah, I think he's just pointing by. And that's the difference in the pressure tires. And I think those guys like Hocevar that put it late like that, they're hoping that with everything spread out, they don't lose as much track position as they would under caution. You know, having trouble on a pit stop or something. Now, if you give up 1 or 2 spots more by staying out those few laps, now you have pressure tires, and you can try to take advantage of those as everybody throws their stuff out.
But these 3 leaders are losing at 6 or 7 tenths of a second every lap. The cars that have stopped and taken on time.
The 13 cars in the lead lap is what's allowing them, or
they're hoping for a miracle.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
We've seen the 12s day that they've had. They've been all over the place. Give luck a little bit of a chance to operate.
So Hocevar has blamed himself. Brian Blaney. And look at the difference in speed. between Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, right at 5 miles an hour average per lap. Faster. And you look at Blaney, I mean, they're hoping for that strategy. Second place, Corey Heim, he has absolutely nothing to lose. He is here to learn, and if they're in the conversation of having a chance to win the race because the caution falls, see Blaney's starting right there to come to pick her up and let the guys know behind him to go up the racetrack and not run him over.
Ryan Blaney will surrender the lead to pit with 40 laps to go. Flag runs for it with Corey Heim leading this race and running on because he can.
And I think I would run it until I was going to run out of gas. Look, just roll the dice and see if you can get yourself into that position. He's got a car that is fast enough to be able to compete up there if they ever get the track position swing to work out their way. See Chase Elliott right there stuck behind Noah Gragson, trying to put him a lap down. When you get to the corner, you gotta go the opposite direction that they do, much like from what Clint talked about earlier. You don't want to be right behind that car in front of you, so you just go in the opposite lane.
Blaney's stop against his 19 cars on the lead lap. And Greg's going to run you as hard as he possibly can. He goes 2 laps down right here. Your day's pretty much done this late in the race. Jones gets one back from Corey Heim. 20 lead lap cars now.
Hamlin catching Reddick fast.
Smith up top and Josh Berry. And they're hoping to get It's Chase Elliott's Gregson's giving him fits up there for the lead. It's enabling them to run him down and pounce on that opportunity. Close the gap here, Kev.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. You know, you got a guy that's running the groove that you want to be in where your car performs the best. See Chase Elliott trying to drive it into the corner right here to slide up in front of Noah. He's going to be able to clear him this time. So took a few laps to get it all to work out. See Tyler Reddick, he's been able to put himself in a position to go by Josh Berry on the outside right here. Get himself some clean track as well.
And it's not that Noah Gregson is trying to keep going a lap down to Chase Elliott now. It's that Elliott will become the leader when the 200 cars pit, and then Gregson will be trapped a lap down. So he's got a hard for it.
Mike, based on our view, if they got the 67 and 19 pole, we're probably looking about those state match backs.
Their hope is for another one of those single car spins that have brought the caution flag out 4 times already today. And have it happen before they have to come to pit road.
And I've seen it happen a million times, and you've been up here long enough to see those things happen. And that is their strategy right now. Hope.
I'm sorry, I said hope, and you have told me hope is not a strategy.
Well, it is today.
It is to that car.
It is right now. And he's got nothing to lose.
Trying to race traffic.
And that is really what his objective is just pick a line, try to let those guys get by you in the cleanest way possible so it doesn't cost you any more time than you're already giving up with the old tires compared to everybody who's on the racetrack.
Well, Chase Elliott is going to turn Corey Heim's pretty soon here.
Yeah, Briscoe's going to get it first in the rearview mirror. And we we know that 19 car is torn up, and they can pull a rabbit out of the hat right here with a caution or something falling in the right spot. But Chase Elliott, he's just fast, Clint.
Yeah, he's been impressive ever since that car got clean air. He's been extremely fast and effective. I thought
Definitely the one to beat.
Got this bench. Chase Briscoe and James Swall have done a good job of making the most of their day after they had an incident on the road with Kyle Larson on the damage to number 19. Pretty surprising to see them up here in the top 5 as we get into the closing stages of this race.
Yeah, and unfortunately for them, it's the Briscoe car is going to cycle out, but they're doing all that they can do to try to salvage something out of the day.
All right, we hear over the radio. Corey Heim has just gone to fuel pump number 2, Larry. Yeah, and Mike, that normally means with the way those things are structured, you've got that reservoir in there. One of the lift pumps is in that reservoir. Based on my information I'm gathering, you might have 1 or 2 laps at a mile-and-a-half track. What's the indication there, though?
Hamlin just got by Reddick.
Yeah, well, typically what happens, start to see that fuel pressure numbers start to fluctuate a little bit as you get to the corners. They've run it as far as they can, but from a driver's standpoint, when you see that number start to fluctuate because it stays pretty steady on the fuel pressure, but when it fluctuates a little bit, you flip that second pump on.
Well, Chase Elliott has command of this race with 29 laps to go. Here comes Corey Heim to pit road for his final stop. Chase Briscoe is still out there and now in second. 1.3 back of Elliott with Hamlin, Reddick, and Buescher closing in. And Hamlin going 5 for second place.
Hamlin is the quickest car on the track, I do believe. Since passing Reddick, at least.
Times this year, but he's also deserving of being here every Sunday, so kid does a great job.
Are we going to see a Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin battle to the finish?
May very well. Commercial break coming up on 26 laps to go. This time by Denny Hamlin is slightly closing in on race leader Chase Elliott. It is a 1.4 second deficit as of right now. Chase Briscoe is, I believe, still on the racetrack and has yet to make his final pit stop, though he is starting to lose some positions. And actually now is just on his way to pit road. So Briscoe finally pits. We saw Heim pit from second place after Elliott just took the lead away from him before he was coming to pit road. So we'll cycle through the full field running order again here. Again, Chase Elliott leads, Denny Hamlin second, Tyler Reddick third, Chris Buescher in fourth, Daniel Suarez is fifth, sixth for Alex Bowman, Riley Herbst seventh, Carson Hocevar in eighth, Kyle Busch ninth, William Byron rounds out the top 10, with Austin Cindric in 11th, Bubba Wallace 12th, John Hunter Nemechek 13th, Ryan Preece 14th, and Connor Zilic in 15th. 16th is Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Briscoe 17th, Austin Dillon 18th, Eric Jones 19th, and Ryan Blaney 20th. 21st for Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 22nd is the last car in the lead lap. Noah Gragson first car lap down in 23rd, with A.J. Allmendinger in 24th, Josh Berry 25th, Corey Heim now 26th after just pitting. 27th is Zane Smith, Ty Dillon 28th, Ross Chastain 29th had a pit road speeding penalty, and Michael McDowell 30th. Cody Ware 2 laps down in 31st, 12 laps down for Todd Gilliland in 32nd. 43 laps down on track. 33rd is Chad Fincham. 5 cars out of the race and in the garage area today with Kyle Larson at 34th, Cole Custer 35th, 36th for Ty Gibbs, Joey Logano 37th, and Christopher Bell rounds out our 38-car field. 6 cautions, 21 lead changes. Chase Elliott leads yet again. He has led the second most laps today. Oddly enough, Corey Heim has actually led the most laps in today's race. Heim has led for 69 laps so far. Elliott will consume the most laps led here in another 5 laps. That last lap, Elliott picked up quite a bit compared to the lap times Hamlin was running. He was slowly catching him, and now Chase was a little over 1/10 of a second faster than Denny Hamlin the last time by. Only for the following lap by at the start-finish line that Denny Hamlin ran a faster lap than Chase Elliott, a 29.852 for Hamlin to Elliott's 29.986. We'll take a quick break here late in the race. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of the Wurth 400 at Texas Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Cup Series continues. We are down to 21 laps to go. All right. Tyler Reddick losing quite a bit of ground to both Elliott and Hamlin in front of him. And without a caution and a restart, I think Tyler Reddick is going to be about done.
There was something the tires at the time because it is so fast and bumpy, and then you want
That sounds like Reddick talking about a potential issue with the tires for whatever reason is going on there. Obviously, his pace has dropped significantly. He's 3.5 seconds back. That last lap, Tyler Reddick was 0.4 of a second off of both Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott's lap time. Still faster than the 5th place car of Daniel Suarez. Not as fast as Chris Buescher in 4th, though. Buescher's still 4 seconds behind him. So 19 laps to go. Chase Elliott kind of back and forth in the lap time side of things between he and Denny Hamlin in 2nd. Could be dependent on where they're exactly catching lap traffic as well. Carson Hocevar looking to pick up another spot, battling for 7th with Riley Herbst inside the top 10. They're side by side down the back straightaway. Hocevar got to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Solid day for Herbst. Honestly, this might be the best race Riley Herbst has had in his NASCAR Cup career. He's been in contention on a couple super speedways, but at least by way of the non-super speedways, the fact that he's been in the back half of the top 10 the entire second half of this race. Kind of got there because of the pit strategy, but he stayed there every step of the way. Got to give credit to where credit's due there. Obviously, 23-11 all the way around has pretty much had speed here at Texas today, with Corey Heim leading the second most laps in today's race. And albeit on an alternate pit strategy, he's obviously still had speed in that number 67. And Bubba Wallace still decent speed as well. I know he's in 12, but remember, he is in a backup car after crashing his primary in practice. Had no laps with that backup car until the race today. And still had to come from dead last all the way up to 12th. And once he got to about 11th, 12th place, he pretty much just stayed there ever since. Taking care of his car and looking to salvage at least a decent finish. Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez going to be battling for 5th on the racetrack. Hocevar, by the way, was not able to make the pass for 7th on Herbst, and those two cars at 35 and 77 are actually closing on the 48 and the 7 just up ahead. Is Riley Herbst going to get a top 5 at Texas? I mean, he is fastly approaching these two cars ahead of him, though. He did not get off turn 4 very well, and Hocevar is hounding down on him quickly again. Carson charging hard through 1 and 2. Pretty solid day for Carson Hocevar all the way around. Started on the pole, was 2nd at the end of stage 1, 9th at the end of stage 2, and currently running in 8th. Top 10 all the way around. Last year in the spring, he also finished top 10 while finishing 6th place in both stage 1 and stage 2 as well. Texas has been a pretty good track for him in Spire Motorsports in the recent years. Kyle Busch looking for back-to-back top 10 finishes as he remains in 9th. Qualified 6th, and he's ran top 10 pretty much all day today. He was top 5 more in stage 1, and then more in that like 6th to 12th range for most of the day since, but here he is in 9th. It's the first race with his new crew chief, Andy Street, coming from the O'Reilly Series full-time and trying to crew chief the 8 of Kyle Busch, which was originally crew chief by Jim Pullman to start the season. That wasn't meshing well together and turning things around here pretty quickly. Back-to-back top 10s for Busch. Definitely leaning well. $11 laps to go at the line this time by for Chase Elliott. He is just getting into more lap traffic. Brad Keselowski, last car in the lead lap in the 6, is right in front of him. Keselowski in the 20th place position. Down to turns 1 and 2. Oh, Corey Heim has crashed. Oh, that's a tough break. He had a great day going. Turns 3 and 4, he has backed it pretty hard against the outside wall. Our 7th caution of the day with just 11 laps to go at the Texas Motor Speedway. 23-year-old rookie has gone around, defending Truck Series champion. And the back of that race car is destroyed. He is not going to be able to continue. Window nut down. Good to see. He definitely backed it into the fence pretty hard. I believe he was right around tail end of the lead lap. He was one of the first cars a lap down at the time of his incident. And he is getting out of the car under his own power. Well, this is going to be interesting. To pit or not to pit is going to be a huge question with 20 cars on the lead lap. Brad Keselowski really benefiting from this caution because I think he's staying out. He stayed out once before. I think Brad stays out again. I mean, he held on for third place stage points earlier. Granted, it was only one lap. I think by the time we get this next restart in, we're probably going to have at least 3 or 4 to go. Heim's car is still parked on the apron right off the exit of turn 4 towards the entrance of pit road, so it's going to be another lap or two before they can even open the pits. 9 to go at the line right now for Elliott and Hamlin. Replay of Heim's incident further back in the pack. Just got it up a little wide. Seen 2 cars earlier spin, Todd Gilliland and William Byron, that same area of the track, middle of turns 3 and 4. A little bit too high up on the racetrack, catching the bump, car slipping out from underneath, and fortunately for Heim, he backs it into the wall pretty hard. Unable to spin down the banking like both the 34 and 24 did earlier, where they can at least continue on. So again, 20 cars are on the lead lap. We're going to see a mixed bag of strategy here. We're going to see some taking 4, some are going to take 2. And we may see some drivers stay out of the pits also, and this is going to scramble things up for this final restart. We've seen this quite a bit in recent weeks in the NASCAR Cup Series. The thing is here at Texas, there isn't as much fall off as a track like Kansas where we saw an overtime restart in this situation. This might be kind of more similar to Bristol when we had that 20-lap shootout to the end before the overtime restart, and it was a couple cars staying out. I will say there's more tire wear here than probably at Bristol, just with it being a faster, bigger racetrack, but I think if you take right side tires here, you can hold on for a couple laps. If enough cars behind you also take 2. That's going to be the big thing, because if you take 2 tires right now and you're one of only a couple drivers that take 2, I don't think you're going to win the race. But if we saw like back at stage 1 how Eric Jones stayed out of the pits and we had 5 drivers stay out, I do think staying out of the pits could win the race. I mean, we're at 8 laps to go and pit road is still not open with Corey Heim on the wrecker. Hopefully they can open pit road this time. Honestly, I think if you pit, you have to take 2. I think if you pit, you have to take 2 because there's going to be some that stay out. And I think there's going to be enough drivers to take 2. If you take 4 tires, you're going to restart row 4, row 5, and I think with 2 or 3 laps left, you're not going to have enough time to get up there. And we've seen a couple of drivers lose races this season already because of it. We saw that happen at Phoenix in the spring with Christopher Bell. We saw that happen just a couple of weeks ago at Bristol with Kyle Larson. Kansas happened, and the same thing kind of happened for Denny Hamlin late. He took 4, wasn't able to drive back through the field after leading with 2 to go. You can't take 4. We've seen 4 tires lose 3 times already this season. Whatever happens, if you pit, you cannot take 4 tires. If you pit, you got to take 2, otherwise you stay out and hope that you get enough cars to stay out with you. I get you want to win on the offensive strategy with 4 tires, but it just hasn't won yet this season. Tyler Reddick will come to pit road from 3rd. We got a handful of them staying out. Yeah, it's a good call. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin stay out of the pits. A few more from the top 10 also staying out. Suarez comes in from about 6th. And quite a few others on pit road outside the top 10.
Too much. Yeah, and it may not get and a green light checker. Elmer's well. And that's really what you want. If you don't get to them, you want.
Yeah, I want to see the exact number of about how many cars stayed out. There was 20 on the lead lap. Our leaderboard's not going to update till the leaders get back to the start-finish line. Now pit road will be open this time by for the lap cars to pit. And then you would hope we would get 1 to go the following time by. I think we're going to have 3 or 4 laps to go on the restart. Leaderboard hasn't quite updated yet. Good call by Alan Gustafson and Chase Elliott's pit crew, I do believe. Keep him out on the racetrack. I do think also Denny Hamlin may be learning from his mistake at Kansas on the last mile and a half where he pitted and didn't have enough chance to get back up there. Top 8 cars stayed out. In 3 or 4 laps, I think that's enough cars that stayed out. It should help keep those cars on fresh tires further back there. Tyler Reddick was the first off pit road with 4 tires in 9th. If there's any driver in the field, especially the way the 2026 season has gone in a restart, late race situation, that can pull this off on the 4 fresh tires, having to pass 4 full rows of race cars, it's probably Tyler Reddick, but we shall see. So Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, 1st and 2nd. Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman, 3rd, 4th. Riley Herbst, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Austin Dillon are 5th through 8th. Those are the top 8 cars that all stayed out of the pits. Tyler Reddick in 9th is going to be the first on fresh tires. Daniel Suarez will be 10th. Then you got Kyle Busch in 11th, Carson Hocevar 12th, Austin Cindric 13th, Bubba Wallace 14th, and John Hunter Nemechek 15th. Noah Gragson, by the way, got the free pass in 21st, I believe, to get back on the lead lap. Actually, no, sorry, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets the free pass at 21st. He's back on the lead lap. All right, field is getting the choose. So 1 to go this time by. Chase Elliott inside of row 1 for the restart. The inside line has been the control car all day long, really all weekend long. Truck O'Reilly and Cup Series racing, we've seen the inside of row number 1 be where the leader wants to restart every time. And we are setting up for a late dash to the checker. Well, for Chase Elliott, he probably had this race won if a caution didn't come out. He was managing his gap really well over Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's going to have another shot at it. Outside of row 1 at Texas is going to be difficult, though. We haven't seen many guys get a good launch through there. Only one restart all day. We've actually seen cars side by side off turn 2 for the lead in a late race restart situation, or in any kind of a restart situation, but now it's late race. Here we go. And Tyler Reddick, the one to watch on those fresh tires, the first of which he's outside of row number 5. Not going to doubt he's going to take it 3 wide into turn 1 on that top lane. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Denny Hamlin got a great launch in the restart zone. I think Chase Elliott might have spun the tires a bit. Blaney trying to block Reddick to the outside. That's going to slow Reddick's momentum down, but he does get there. And Reddick is boxed in for the time being, so we're going to focus on the front of the pack as Chase Elliott will clear Denny Hamlin high up out of turn 2 after not getting the initial launch, but had the shortest route around the racetrack through 1 and 2 and still cleared Hamlin anyway. Tyler Reddick on the first car with 4 fresh tires as the rocket ship. 3 laps to go at the line. He is up to 5th as he clears Byron for position out of turn 4. And now he's going to go for quick work on Chris Buescher to the inside and pass him to the bottom through 3 and 4 for 4th place, but he slips up the racetrack in the dirty air, unfortunately behind Bowman, and that costs Reddick, and he does not get around Buescher after all. Carson Hocevar in the 77 now to the outside of the 24 of Byron. He is the next closest car behind Reddick on 4 fresh Goodyears. Ryan Blaney's already fallen out of the top 10. He was of the last couple of cars on the old tires, and Herbst at the mercy of Bubba Wallace next as well, who is up in the top 10 for really the first time today for Bubba. Lap and a half to go for Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin is about 3 to 4 car lengths off the lead. Hamlin charging hard on the entry into turns 3 and 4. Washes a little bit wide up the racetrack. Reddick, by the way, up to 4th. Oh, we got a spinner again. John Hunter Nemechek, but we stay green as he's up along the outside of the racetrack. No caution. Chase Elliott still leads. By the way, final lap of the race. Track is clear in turns 3 and 4 as the leaders are going to make their way back around. Hamlin is still about 5 car lengths off the lead. And it's going to be Chase Elliott picking up his second win of 2026 and his second career win at the Texas Motor Speedway. Sound the siren in Dawsonville, Georgia. First driver other than Tyler Reddick to get a second win in 2026. Chase Elliott came into the day 4th in points. With the poor day Ryan Blaney had, he's going to move up to at least 3rd in points. I don't think he's quite going to surpass Denny Hamlin for second because Hamlin did have a solid day finishing in second, but he is going to be very tightly behind Hamlin for second in the standings. Nemechek had actually gotten his car rolled all the way down to pit road out of the way when the track was cleared to keep that race under a green flag condition late. And Chase Elliott's going to go to victory lane in the Wurth 400. So Chase Elliott with the win. Denny Hamlin finishes in second. Margin of victory about 0.4 of a second. Alex Bowman with the 3rd place finish for the second week in a row. Back-to-back thirds for Bowman. Tyler Reddick in 4th. Chris Buescher 5th. Daniel Suarez 6th. Carson Hocevar the pole sitter in 7th. William Byron 8th. Bubba Wallace 9th. And Ryan Blaney still hung on for a top 10 as he got back past Herbst on the last lap. Tough break for Riley. He was running in 6th before that last caution. He ends up finishing 11th. Eric Jones in 12th. Brad Keselowski 13th. Ryan Preece 14th. And Austin Cindric finishes 15th. 16th for rookie Connor Zilic. Shane Van Gisbergen in 17th. Austin Dillon 18th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th. And Kyle Busch. What happened to Kyle Busch? He was in 9th on that last caution. He finishes 20th, last car in the lead lap. Oh, my goodness. Even when he has a good day, he doesn't have a good finish. John Nemechek 21st. Zane Smith 22nd were the first couple cars a lap down. Chase Briscoe 23rd. Ty Dillon 24th. 25th for A.J. Allmendinger. Ross Chastain 26th, Michael McDowell 27th, Noah Gragson 28th, Josh Berry 29th. 2 laps down, Cody Ware in 30th, Corey Heim, DNF 31st with that last caution. Todd Gillen 32nd, Chad Fincham 33rd, Kyle Larson 34th, Cole Custer 35th, Ty Gibbs 36th, 37th for Joey Logano, and Christopher Bell finishes last, having that crash from the lead late in stage 1. Couldn't miss the spinning 34 of Todd Gillen at the time. 2 hours, 56 minutes, 16 seconds total time in the race, 7 cautions, 23 lead changes, and 40 laps out of 267 under caution. And again, we did finish under the regulation length of 267 laps and 400 miles. Chase Elliott went on to lead 87 laps today en route to the victory, led the most laps of any driver in today's race. He was also able to win a stage, winning stage number 2. Stage 1 was won by Eric Jones on pit strategy earlier on. 21 laps led as well for Denny Hamlin, 40 for Carson Hocevar, 5 for Ryan Blaney during green flag pit stops, 1 for Riley Herbst, 13 for Eric Jones with that stage 1 win. Brad Keselowski finishes with 4 laps led, 4 for Chase Briscoe, 69 for Corey Heim, second most in the race today. Bell led for 22 before a last place finish, and 1 lap led for Ty Gibbs. Those were all the drivers to lead at least 1 lap in today's race. Here's your race winner, Chase Elliott on the front stretch at Texas.
Thanks everybody for coming out, guys. Awesome, good crowd as always. I have not been a huge fan of this place, and I've made that very obvious. But to continue to work hard, and I really think this is a testament to the whole 9 team, but not just the 9 team, but also everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, because we've not been where we wanted to be throughout portions of this season, and man, everybody's just been digging in really hard, from the engine shop at Hendrick Motorsports to all the setup shops to everybody at Team Chevy. Appreciate our partners with Napa and Prime on the car this week. Really cool to have them back, and obviously they're coming to show our races here in a few weeks in Charlotte. So yeah, man, just crazy. To say, as much as we struggled out here, to have won 2 races here now in the last few years is pretty wild. So just super grateful for all the people that helped make this possible, and yeah, looking forward to celebrating with them.
For the second time this season, it's a 1-2 finish between you and Denny Hamlin. Bring me back to that final restart and what ultimately was the difference maker.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure whether to go top or bottom, and the bottom had been winning out on a lot of the restarts. I just felt like, man, if I didn't get clear off the 2, I was going to be in a lot of trouble. So fortunately, Alex gave me a great push. Was able to execute turns 1 and 2, get clear, and then just kind of manage the last few laps. So it worked out really good. But man, it was really cool to get a win as early as we did at Martinsville. Now to have 2, this early in the year is really special. And I think it's, again, a testament to our team. We have a great group, and those things don't last forever. And I think for us, we just have to make the most of a great opportunity. Have a great race team, great people back at home. Great support from the boss and people that keep this deal rolling. So we're just gonna try to keep our heads down and keep chugging. Long year, lot of racing left, so we'll try to build on it.
Chase Elliott, your winner at Texas.
Back-to-back weeks, got a couple of crowd favorites going on to victory lane with Carson Hocevar last week, Chase Elliott this week. Here's second place finisher Denny Hamlin.
It's gonna be so close if it went green. I thought it was gonna get there, especially with the harvest. The 6 was trying to hold off the 9, but yeah, hats off this whole progressive Toyota team. Good. We just I didn't have great restarts all day, and then you get set behind a little bit, and it's just those little fine small details. And yeah, I thought I got a good restart there at the end, side by side. Then it's just the way the side drag works right there into turn 1. You then get the push from the 48. It just allowed his momentum to pick up a little bit quicker than mine, and I tried to hang on to the side, but I was just getting tighter as the closer I was getting to him. So good decent day, but just 1 short.
You mentioned restarts. Looked like the restarts were absolutely crazy all day long, but we saw a number of cars spin on their own. How much of a knife edge was it out there with these cars? How challenging was it?
Yeah, it's this track, right? You have to make some decisions with your setup with that big bump over in turns 3 and 4. And sometimes, if you just get going too aggressively over there and your car's a little free, it just doesn't take much to spin them out, as we've seen, and it's year after year. We've seen a handful of cars do that. We get close to doing it. I think everyone in the field at some point, but just yeah, we had another great Toyota Camry, just not quite sure.
All right, thanks, Danny.
We're going to look at a couple of.
Alrighty, so that is going to wrap up things for today's live commentary stream from Texas Motor Speedway for this year's running of the Wurth 400. 11th race of the NASCAR Cup Series season in the books out of 26 in the regular season. We're almost halfway home. As far as the race results go, we already went through that. Really, the only thing we have to cover is start times for next weekend on the channel, and I will post that in the community tab, obviously, as we get later in the week as well. But Thursday, all three series in action next weekend. We're going to start things off on, oh boy, Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek made contact in that last lap or two. That's why Busch finished 20th, and Nemechek went for the spin. Yeah, Busch just tried to clear Nemechek, knocked him up into the wall, and then more contact down into the corner. Frustrations for the 8 of Kyle Busch. That's a tough break. I mean, he had a great day going. And Nemechek, obviously, right there in the top 10 too late. Anyway, start times for next weekend on the channel and our live commentary streams for Watkins Glen. Yes, Watkins Glen in May. That's gonna be odd. I mean, that race has been in the summer my entire life, so the fact that that race is going to be in May next week, I'm curious to see what the track is going to look like. As far as our streaming schedule, we'll be live Friday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern for our next live commentary stream. That will be the Craftsman Truck Series race. A doubleheader on Saturday with Cup practice and qualifying at 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday afternoon, followed by at 4 p.m. Eastern the O'Reilly Series race. And we'll be live for NASCAR Cup racing at 2:30 p.m. Eastern next Sunday also. So that is our start times for streams in the schedule for next weekend. Watkins Glen for the NASCAR Cup Series. My personal favorite road course. Can't wait for that one. And can't wait to see you guys again next week. If you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to do so. Helps these streams out a ton. We did get to our goal of 100 likes. We're at 118 and counting right now. Subscribe if you are new for more NASCAR content. We have live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for Truck O'Reilly Cup racing, just like we did this weekend. And we'll carry that all the way out throughout the rest of the year as always. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your Sunday evening.